Hello and welcome to Grand Rapids, everybody, where it finally has started to feel like fall here in Michigan. The colors are out, the temperature's cold, and it's even colder here inside Eagles Ice Center. Reagan Cleaves and Michael Rosenkrantz with you here, the tag team partners on the air tonight. And before we get going here in this broadcast, it is a radio-only stream due to multiple factors, including lack of strong Wi-Fi and inability to get some things working on our end. We are only radio tonight. I know last night we said we might have a video broadcast uploaded later. That is not going to be the case. So just our melodious voices, Michael, here as we get going. Central Michigan and Calvin set for the second of two games this weekend. And last night, frankly, things did not go well for Central Michigan. They got off on the wrong foot, and they really couldn't recover.
No, they couldn't, Reagan. It was off to, you sort of see the name of the game in this MCHC West slate of things for Central Michigan. They dig themselves an early hole, and that early hole feels nearly impossible to come out of, and that's exactly what happened last night. 4 goals in the first period. You go back to the likes of the Grand Valley game back in September where they scored 4 goals on Central Michigan, and they found it hard to battle back. So it's really about controlling, about putting that game behind you last night, as well as finding a way to break out of that loop and get off on the right foot and not have quite frankly, a disastrous start last night.
Yeah, indeed. You talk about that disastrous start. 2 goals in the first 5 minutes alone. One from Sergei Yakunin, and one from Drew Klumperens, who would end up getting the hat trick in that game for Calvin. Well, he was a menace all over the ice for Calvin last night, being able to find himself into an open area and bang home some wide open shots.
And that's really a testament to how fast this Calvin team is, Reagan. It's such a well-rounded offense, and with that, a very young offense as well. You have a lot of freshmen and sophomores, a lot of underclassmen getting their time on the ice and really trying to establish a good name for themselves. Drew Klumperens being one of them, Sergei Yakunin another one on the ice. So 2 very good players, but this is an extremely well-rounded Calvin offense here today, and Central Michigan will look to maintain them here going forward.
Yeah, and speaking of maintaining them, Central Michigan did a very good job of that in the second period of that game yesterday. They came out in that first 5 minutes of the middle frame, seemed to come out a little bit stronger, a little bit harder than they did in that first period. They had the edge in shots, about 8-3 partway through that first period, and then from there on, penalties kind of derailed any of their chances. They allowed, or they committed 3 penalties in that second period. Brandon Clements, Connor Morgan, and then Isaac Gibbs getting that disqualification, which puts him out of the game here tonight. But again, it's that discipline, Michael, that Central Michigan really couldn't handle.
No, they couldn't, Reagan. It's been a tough theme. You sort of pound it over and over, but Central Michigan has to be able to stay disciplined today. I do like what they did in the second period as well. You got to see a little bit of their forechecking and a lot of gritty defense from guys like Nick Kuhn out on the ice yesterday, who's been really working his tail off for Central Michigan in terms of getting into the passing lanes, being able to use that forecheck and pressure Calvin, and he did a really good job of bringing that pressure last night.
And speaking of bringing that pressure, and speaking of Nick Kuhn, how about him getting his first ACHA goal yesterday on a beautiful breakaway all the way in from the blue line, picked up the loose puck, worked in all alone, and faked out a very good netminder who was at the top of the MCHC in terms of goals against average entering into the weekend.
Yeah, it's tough to get goals, any goals past Garrett Walker last night, but Nick Kuhn able to do just that, made a nice move on him and put it just past the glove side on his left. And Nick Kuhn, it's a great feeling for him to get his first goal. He's been working like a madman out on the ice for Central Michigan, being able to finally turn that defense into good offense. It was a great feeling for Nick Kuhn getting his first goal yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. It is as great of a feeling as it was for Nick Kuhn. In the end, that didn't stop the result. 7-1, the loss for Central Michigan a night ago, and that moves them to 3-6 on the season, Michael. Only 6 points. They had a two-game win streak snapped last night. They won their 2 games against Calvin, faltered last night, and they've been struggling to score as of late. Only 11 goals in 5 games against the top-tier opponents. 4 of them came in that Michigan State game, and 4 of them came in another Grand Valley game, but they really haven't been able to do anything outside of that.
No, they haven't, Reagan. Again, this MCHC West slate has been tough on Central Michigan. Then after this, they turn things around and head to division play in the MCHC East, so You're going to see some divisional play, and anytime you play in your divisional matchups, it's even more imperative that you find ways to get on the score sheet. If you're Central Michigan, find ways to get some scoring chances, create havoc on the ice. Central Michigan, quite frankly, they got to do that here tonight if they want any momentum going forward into next week when they start division play.
Yeah, they start division play against Michigan Flint next weekend, Friday at 8 p.m. against Michigan Flint at Crystal Fieldhouse. That will be a fun matchup. Michigan Flint wrapping up their out-of-conference schedule this weekend against Illinois State, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. But their opponent tonight, Calvin, we saw how dominant they were yesterday, Michael. A team that was fast. They're speedy on the forecheck. More importantly, they bring the physicality, which is something that Central Michigan in years past hasn't had trouble dealing with. This year, they've kind of had a little bit of trouble with that.
They have, and I think that's a little bit due to the fact they returned a lot of core players, but you still have a lot of young guys on this team trying to get themselves on the ice and earn that playing time for Central Michigan. Not to say that they're too inexperienced. They've played for a long time, but it's all, I think, really down to just being able to deal with that pressure with Calvin. I mean, they're a very tough team. You saw it on all fronts last night. And speaking with head coach Austin Heisinger, you talk about that when things sort of fall into place with this Calvin team. He talks about that forecheck and the speed and the physicality. Everything starts falling into place, and that's exactly what happened with Calvin yesterday as they dominated in all fronts.
Yeah, they dominated all fronts en route to their fourth ever victory over the Central Michigan Chippewas. CMU still holds the series lead 5-4-0-1 all time against these Knights. Last night was the first Calvin win, Michael, since October 16th of 2016. It was a four-game losing streak, or rather winless streak for Calvin. There was one tie in there as well, but there's never really been a true series split in this series. CMU had that tie and a win last year. You could argue that that's somewhat of a split, but neither team in this series history has won right after the other team has lost.
No, they haven't, Reagan. I think that's also a testament to how close this matchup has truly been for Central Michigan and Calvin. There's only been 10 games played in their all-time series, 5-4-0-1, as you mentioned, and they've been able to keep it close. And again, you talk about head coach Brendan Martin and how he preaches that with 5-on-5 hockey, this team can really play with anybody, but it starts with that discipline, being able to keep yourself out of the penalty box. And if you can keep yourself to even hockey and play some discipline 60 minutes and get the little things right, it should be a much different game tonight.
Now, speaking of that discipline, we'll get to that and other keys to the game when we come back. We'll take a look at the impact players and keys to the game. This is the pregame show on the CMU Club Hockey Network. Welcome back to Eagles Ice Center. Reagan Cleaves, Michael Rosenkrantz with you here for the pregame show presented by SeamishIceHockey.com. Central Michigan and Calvin about 15 minutes away from puck drop. Michael, Central Michigan last night had a couple of impact players. We saw Isaac Gibbs and Nick Kuhn get on the score sheet in a couple of different ways. And who do you got tonight for CMU?
Well, for Central Michigan, I'm going to start off with Jace Johnson. In 9 games played, he's 9-2-11 for his points on the campaign. He leads his team in goals. And Jace Johnson, you saw a little bit of flashes of him yesterday. He continues to show off his speed and create scoring chances. There are a couple of instances where he worked up the left wing with speed and was able to walk right in on Garrett Walker, but it was really that checking of Calvin that's so dominant and that was able to disrupt him but Jace Johnson still continues to be a bright spot in this Chippewas team in terms of getting scoring chances. My other impact player, I'm going to keep it with Nick Kuhn. He got his first goal last night. He's riding some good momentum off of that, and he's continued to be dominant in terms of playing defense, and he really, again, orchestrated that forechecking pressure that Central Michigan was lacking last night. So Nick Kuhn, expect him to be on the ice again, disrupting Calvin's offense in the exact same manner.
And speaking of forecheck, Calvin had a really good forecheck last night, and that was in part led by Drew Klomperens, who had the hat trick last night. Tell me a little bit more about him.
Yeah, Drew Klomperens had the hat trick last night. He's fourth on his team in goals, Reagan, and he's had 4 games played, so he hasn't played that many games for Calvin. This is their 6th game here today as they come in with a record of 5-0. He's 5-1-6, though, in his 4 games of play, so he's relying on that high-octane offense. Only 1 assist to his name, but getting goals 3, 4, and 5 last night. He's another dominant player about creating lots of scoring chances for Calvin. They have such a strong forecheck. They cycle on the power play very well. And taking you into that power play, my other impact player for Calvin is going to be Owen Diker. I feel like he was one of the many orchestrators of that Calvin power play, along with Josiah Lambers being able to cycle the puck back and forth very quickly and efficiently. Diker is a very fast and a very physical player at that, which speaks to the testament of this Calvin team. Owen Diker is going to be another one to watch out for. He's played all 5 games this season. He's 6-2-8 on the campaign, so a lot of good offensive players for this Calvin team.
Yeah, and this Calvin team, as we saw last night, very physical, very hard on that forecheck. We expect much of the same here tonight. And we talked about that forecheck. Eliminating that is something CMU definitely needs to do tonight. But what are some other keys to the game you got for us, Michael?
Well, first of all, Reagan, you got to be able to match the pace of play. Calvin was outlasting Central Michigan, beating them to the pucks left and right, as well as being able to create crucial face-offs in particularly all over the ice that Central Michigan, quite frankly, struggled with, especially when they needed it the most. So I think Central Michigan has to be able to match the pace of play. They got to match Calvin step for step, and they got to be able to put a little bit more effort in it when it comes time to matching their pace of play. Another key that I have, already touched on it briefly at the beginning, but put last night behind you. They say a bad day only lasts 24 hours. This is a new day. It's a new game here in Grand Rapids. You're not at Martin Ice Arena, where you've had a better streak at home than on the road, but this is a good chance to get yourself back on the right foot if you're Central Michigan. Clean up the little things that happened yesterday, make some key adjustments, and go forward. And finally, with that forecheck, you got to disrupt Calvin's offense. Nick Kuhn did a great job defensively, trying to bring some pressure in that forecheck. Central Michigan did a good job as well of getting into shooting lanes for Calvin, able to get their sticks down, but when it came to passes, they just let him fly all over the ice in a sense. Didn't really get the sticks down on the ice, and that allowed Calvin to get as many shots as they did last night. So I think Central Michigan, keep what you're doing in the shooting lanes, but you also got to break up their passes too.
Yeah, shots on goal last night were 53 to 28. Calvin dominated that scoring, putting 23 shots on goal in that third period alone. So CMU definitely needs to shut down that potent Calvin offense that we saw last night. A couple of scratches tonight for Central Michigan. Isaac Gibbs is out for CMU because of that disqualification he picked up yesterday with that head contact major. So he is out of the lineup tonight, along with Josh Gilgren. He remains ineligible or unable to play thus far this season. Only has missed the last couple of games. Hopefully we see him back in the lineup sooner or later. CMU only dressing 2 netminders tonight. Nick Wilson, Caleb Woolery, the 2 netminders out of play tonight. Isaac Leisner gets the start in net, and we'll give you a little bit more about him later on in the pregame show. As for the Calvin Knights, they scratch Henry Holloman, Josh Philo, Nick LeClaire, Brady Keats, Zach Westrick, and Tommy Postal, who himself is off in France on a study abroad program, so he's unavailable for Calvin. And here this season, they start Trent Goheen, who is the freshman netminder out of Grand Rapids Catholic Central. We'll see him and how he does in his first ACHA start. We'll step aside. Time now to take a look at the MCHC standings. Michael and I will have that when we come back. You're listening to the pregame show on CCHN. Back here inside Eagles Ice Center, Reagan Cleaves, Michael Rosenkrantz, about 10 minutes away from the play-by-play of period number 1. Time now to take a look at the MCHC standings, Michael. Again, none of the teams in the MCHC, none of the 6, Michigan, Oakland, Lawrence Tech, Michigan, Flint, Adrian, and CMU, have played a divisional game yet. The last couple seasons has been taking a little bit of time to get the MCHC divisional play underway, but that will start next week when CMU takes on Michigan, Flint, and as well as a couple of other games. But right now, a couple of teams in action this weekend. Trine and Adrian battling it out at Thunder Ice Arena tonight down in Angola. 7 p.m. start time. Adrian 2-2 right now. Have had a pretty good start. They've split their 4 games, 500 on the season. They sit just above Central Michigan, who's down in the basement of the MCHC East.
They do, Reagan. Adrian hasn't played that many games as Central Michigan, but able to sit at 500 right now. They picked up a good win over Trine yesterday when they played at 3. It was 5-2 when they defeated Trine. So now they take a long bus ride down to Angola, Indiana, for a chance to do it again on the road. It would be big for Adrian to get a sweep against Trine today. So we'll see how the Thunder respond in their wheelhouse back at home.
Yeah, indeed. Trine playing the ICHC down in Indiana. But so we've already talked about a couple of teams at the bottom of the division. A couple of teams at the top. Lawrence Tech, Michigan, Flint sitting just above Adrian at 3rd and 4th in the division. Lawrence Tech 6-1 on the season. Picked up an overtime win yesterday against Miami. They will face off at 6:45 again at Goggin Ice Center this evening. So Lawrence Tech already underway. Michigan, Flint lost 4-1 to Illinois State yesterday. They started their game about an hour and a half ago. We don't have a score update for you. Again, the Wi-Fi giving us troubles. It's hard to get anything pulled up here at Eagles Ice Center. But again, we will have a recording of this broadcast uploaded a little bit later on here this evening. But Michigan and Oakland's inactive this weekend. They are at the top of the MCHC. 5-0 stand the Michigan Wolverines. National champions from 2 seasons ago. They've off to another really good start for the Maize and Blue. In Oakland, a 7-1 start, one of their best starts in a couple seasons.
It has been one of their best starts in a couple seasons. Oakland was a sneaky team last year, and they're starting off on the right foot again. 7-1, a very stout record. They won't play again until November when they start divisional play in the MCHC East. And it's going to be another good test with these divisional matchups. You get a chance to play the best of the best. You're going to have the chance to play the Lawrence Techs and the Michigans and even the Michigan Flints of the Adrian. Anything can happen in the MCHC East Division. It's an interesting division with a lot of good teams with a lot of high potential. So divisional play will be in full swing next week. It'll be an interesting time.
Yeah, it'll be good to get back into divisional play. But before we get to that, final game of 10 MCHC West contests to start the year for Central Michigan. That's coming up in just a little bit. Meanwhile, Michael sat down early today with head coach Brennan Martin, and we'll have that coaches show for you coming up on the other side of this break on CCHN.
Welcome on back to Eagles Ice Center here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, here with Central Michigan head coach Brennan Martin. Coach, last night was, to be quite frank, a tough night to put it. A 7-1 loss against Calvin. I want to take you back to at least the second period. It seemed like you guys, after being down 4-0 early, you brought that forecheck of pressure. You brought that pressure in the second period. You were able to meet up with Calvin pretty consistently, and you were able to match their pace of play and put on the forecheck.
Yeah, I mean, the first period, when you go down 4-0, it's tough to come back in a game. You have to play catch-up at that point, and against a good team like Calvin or any other team that you're going to play against, it's a tough task, right? If you take away that first period, it's a 3-1 game, right? Now we're, taking some penalties here and there where we're on the kill, and you can't spend half the game after that first period in the box. You can't be on the kill. You're not going to be able to win games that way. So I'm proud of the way that they came back in that second period. I think, for them moving forward, you have to be able to play a full 60-minute hockey game. And that's what I've really been trying to preach to them here just throughout, honestly, the course of this season, because we haven't been able to see that yet. And when you do take those lapses, that's when the play goes bad. And that's when all of a sudden a team will go and put 2, 3, 4 goals in on you. And a good team, like Grand Valley, Michigan State, Calvin, that we've seen this year, that's what's going on, is you take those 5-10 minutes off, and then you have to spend 50 minutes trying to get back into the game. So moving forward today, if you can play a full 60-minute hockey game, I believe it's going to be a different score. So
Absolutely. The tough slate about this, the MCHC West opponents, you guys played now 5 of those teams in a row. Taking you back to that second period again, though, a bright spot in that second period. Nick Kuhn finally, after working his butt off, it seems like, to get to the puck, gritty on defense, gets his first goal. How did that feel?
Yeah, I think it felt good for him. I think he's been one that, he's had a lot of really good close opportunities, and it finally just clicked for him. So he's a hard worker. It's the first of many for him, and, just excited for him.
One of Calvin's strengths yesterday as well was cycling the puck on their power play. They seem to be doing sort of those one-touch passes back and forth and cycling the puck very well. How do you plan on countering such a stout power play tonight?
Yeah, well, I wasn't necessarily upset with the way our kill performed yesterday. I think to start, kind of what you were saying, in the D zone, you have to be a lot tighter as a unit, just so those passes across the ice aren't necessarily getting through. I'm okay with them moving the puck around on the outside. That's that's perfectly okay as a unit. It's all about on the inside, what we call the house, right in that slot area. So if they're moving the puck all around on the outside, I tell them, let them do that. That's not a good scoring opportunity. But it's when you get out of position and then they get that puck on the inside, that's when the scoring opportunities come. So, yesterday they did a good job, in my opinion, of getting the puck out of the zone when they could. Positioning got a little bad at times, but for me, on that kill was their breakout and always throwing the puck across the ice. We weren't in position for that, so we fixed that a little bit going into the third period. Like I said, you can't expect to be, for them not to score on the power play. I think we had one power play opportunity yesterday. We had some good looks, but if you're spending half the game in the penalty box, bad things are going to happen. So
Central Michigan was able to do a good job of getting into those shooting lanes of Calvin. The passing lanes were a little bit tougher to get those sticks down on the ice, but really in those shooting lanes, it was a different story of being able to get block shots out in front, which really set a key mark in a better second and third period where you only allowed 1 to 2 goals per period. How do you plan on getting those sticks down in the passing lanes here today?
Yeah, it's a lot of discipline and just holding each other accountable at the end of the day. Those are really small things. I feel like, you and I, when we have these coaches shows, I feel like I talk about that a lot. It's really those small things that if you can get those things right, the rest is going to come to you. So when talking about getting sticks in passing lanes, it's a matter of having your stick on the ice, being in the right position versus being out of position or not having 2 hands on your stick. If a pass is going across the ice and you only have 1 hand on your stick, it's going to be hard to catch that pass or intercept it. If your stick's up in the air, you're not going to be able to catch that pass. So it's those small things, right? And if you can perfect those small things, that's when you can start progressing, and that's when you're going to see different changes with this team. So,
finally for you, Coach, what are your keys to tonight's matchup against Calvin?
Yeah, I would say for sure go back to the basics. Play a full 60-minute hockey game. You can't have those lapses like you did last night. Keep the game close, keep it competitive, and when you get your opportunities, you have to find a way to finish. And then, most importantly, let's stay out of the box. Let's play 5-on-5 hockey.
Coach, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
That was Central Michigan head coach Brennan Martin. Stay with us. More after this on CCHN. Time to take a look at the starting goaltenders for this matinee matchup between the Calvin Knights and your Central Michigan Chippewas. For the Calvin Knights, they turn to the likes of their freshman Trent Goheen during his time at Grand Rapids Catholic Central, local kid here playing for Calvin in his time with Catholic Central. 35, 24, and 3 overall record, a .917 save percentage, 6 shutouts, and a 900-plus save percentage junior and senior season, and a sub-250 goals against average each season with Catholic Central. So a young goaltender, but a good one at that. For Central Michigan, they turn to the likes of Isaac Gleisner, 0-2 on the season with a .598 goals against average, .879 save percentage.
Thank you, Michael. Those are your starting netminders. And for Central Michigan, they will head from left to right across your radio dial. Road maroon uniforms, gold trim, gold numerals, maroon pants, gold buckets, and maroon socks. Puck is down. We are underway here at Eagles Ice Center. This first opening 90 seconds was crucial to last night's game. Calvin was able to quickly get on the hop. We'll see if Central Michigan can survive the opening 2 minutes here tonight. Calvin quickly into the offensive zone after a dump in a right point. It's held onto by Trevor Rubline. His shot was wide. It comes to the near side corner boards. Flipped up to the blue line, kept in by Redersma. It's sent in just wide of Gleisner. Rebound behind the net, picked up by Connor Morgan. It's played along the near side for Diker. Diker sent it down low. It was centered in front of the Central Michigan end, and it's flipped back out to center. Icing waved off as it was Josiah Lambers to play that for the Knights. They head from right to left. White home uniforms, dark maroon numbers and shoulders. Quickly in with a shot that's snapped over top of the goal there by Redersma. It's now down in the far wing corner. Gabe Silva worked it back to the right point. A shot deflected high of goal. Rebound to the near side corner. Gabe Silva again battling in there for Calvin. Worked it free. Got it to the point. Kept alive by Grishitov. To the right point. Here's a shot that's deflected high over top the goal. Off the stick of Luke Affman. Back now down into the corner. Calvin on the near side. Otson lost control of the puck. Coughed it up to Hop. And away come the Chippewas. Up the left wing. Here's Jace Johnson across that line. He's in with a shot. It deflects up and out of play. First time we've gotten to see, Michael, that this new line combination with Isaac Gibbs out of the lineup. Jace Johnson looks to be out there with Chris Armitrout and Isaac Hop.
It's a good line mix-up for the Central Michigan team, and for the first nearly minute and a half gone in the first period, I like what Central Michigan's doing so far. The Calvin has been getting offensive pressure, but Central Michigan able to match him step for step so far.
Calvin wins the defensive zone face-off. They haven't been able to break out yet. Good keeping by Campbell at the near side point. He throws it down low behind the net, scooped up by Affman. Tried to reverse field. He gets it to the near side corner boards where it's flipped out by Calvin and down the ice. It was deflected at center by Owen Campbell, so icing negated. Play down in the Chippewa end to our left. Otson for the Knights has it. Plays it behind the net for Sova, trying to work it away from Chris Martin. He hammers Martin into the net, and the net comes off its moorings. Face-off will come outside. Calvin will not be able to change. Minute 56 gone in this opening period.
Calvin able to win that race in the puck in the CMU end, and a little bit of physical contact at the back of the net would push the net off its moorings, but Calvin picking up right where they left off in the physicality.
Yeah, indeed, and they're picking up right where we saw them last night with the speed as well. Redersma over the line. It was forwarded on in there by Ian Schweigert. Play now across the way along the half boards. 2-on-2 battle in the Central Michigan end. Owen Campbell fishes it free, and the maroon and gold are away. Gotta be careful about saying that tonight. Both these teams, maroon and gold. Goheen way out of his net to play that in the far corner. Got it ahead to Klumperens. Had the hat trick last night. Shoveled it around to the near side. Kept him to the right point by Bowers, and his shot was blocked. Played with a high stick, but it was by CMU. Calvin plays it ahead, and that whistle is negated. Owen Campbell chips this ahead into this Calvin end. We're 2.5 gone in this first period. Calvin and Central Michigan here at Eagles Ice Center. Grolo intercepted a pass, flops it into the offensive end to our right behind the net. Scooped up centering feed by Andrew Miller. Couldn't find anybody. He instead gets the rebound, backs up to the point. Kamara, his shot from patted away by Goheen. Puck now behind the net. Nathan Rubline, one of the 9 graduates of Grand Rapids Catholic Central, including the netminder here tonight. And that pipeline has been well established over the last couple of seasons with Lynn Sova, the assistant coach for Calvin. Both of his sons, Nate and Gabe, playing on this Calvin team and going to Catholic Central for their high school seasons. Central Michigan now is able to bat this out of their own end. It's played back at neutral ice right in front of the broadcast booth here. Nate Silva over the line for the Knights. Played it down low. Fernhout in pursuit for the Knights. It's cleared up to the point by CMU, but kept in by Nathan Rubline. He swings it around to the near side for Nate Silva. The freshman bats it down behind the goal. It's scooped up, centering feed. Look out with speed. Bebelos is in and he scores. Chris Bebelos makes it 1-0. Calvin a snipe from the slot. It's 1-0, 3:47 in.
That just comes into play, Reagan. Calvin able to keep it in the offensive zone, and there's so much going on just behind Isaac Gleisner there that there's a little bit of a defensive lapse in the high slot, and it was a beautiful centering feed. Nobody's around Chris Bebelos, who rifles it past Gleisner, and at the 3:47 mark of the first period, it's quickly 1-0 Knights.
And talk about that forecheck for Calvin as we did last night, Michael. There's just so strong to the puck. Here's the announcement. So Fernhout and Nate Silva getting the assists, and now a penalty coming up on Central Michigan. But before we get that, Jace Johnson on the delayed penalty touched up the puck, fired it on goal. Actually, it's going to come up on Calvin here. Took a late shot after the play, and it'll end up in a power play here for Central Michigan.
Yeah, a little bit of a late hit along the near boards in the Calvin end, and Central Michigan vying. That puck actually went in as the play was blown dead. That goal shouldn't count. This should be a power play coming up for Central Michigan. I think CMU trying to convince the officials otherwise, but they're going to go to a power play here.
Well, they might go to a 4-on-4 here. They're going to take Jace Johnson and put him off for the unsportsmanlike, shooting the puck well after the whistle. And I'm not sure I really agree with that, Michael. It seemed like the whistle and the shot came in fairly quick succession. But nonetheless, we are going to go to a 4-on-4 here with Calvin leading 1-0, 4:07 in.
It was in pretty quick succession. That'll open up the ice a little bit more here at Eagles Ice Center. Let's see what the Chippewas can do with this 4-on-4.
So Johnson takes his seat. We're going to be 4-on-4 as head coach Brennan Martin gets the explanation from the two officials down at the Central Michigan bench across the way. Nonetheless, it's going to be 4-on-4. We'll face off into the Knights' end to our right. The conversation seems to break up rather peaceably. 4:07 gone here in this first period. Knights lead 1-0 off of Bebelos' snipe from the slot, his fourth of the campaign. Draw to the right of Goheen. In the Knight end to our right. Knights unable to control off the face-off, though they won it. Nathan Bottles down into the far corner for the Chippewas. There's a shot that was blocked, and now so CMU is going to get a 3-minute power play at the end of this as we hear the major against Diker for boarding. Meanwhile, we're still on a 4-on-4. Red Ayersma up the wing for Calvin, cuts into the zone, trying to get it out in front, but it was knocked away, and Central Michigan comes back left to right. Owen Campbell across the line, lets a shot go. That was blocked. Rebound is loose in front, and he scores! Owen Campbell ties up the game on a 4-on-4 goal.
That's great speed there by Owen Campbell. Able to get that shot out of the offensive zone. Owen Campbell just works up the right wing with speed, has Armentrout to his right, or rather Nathan Bottles to his right, and you would expect he tries to dump it in, looking for an errant pass there, but the puck came back to him, and he was able to snipe it past Goheen, and this game's all tied up.
That's the tenacity we've expected from Owen Campbell. His fifth of the campaign. Meanwhile, Central Michigan right back into the offensive end. It's a 1-1 game here at Eagles Ice Center. It's an unassisted tally, and we saw him take that shot at the point. It was blocked at the point of release. He was able to stay with it, follow it into the right wing circle, and snipe it past Trent Goheen to tie up this game, and that's the start that Central Michigan needed. It's not the start that you wanted, allowing that first goal from Bibelos, but really Central Michigan, there isn't a better way you could have responded.
No, there isn't, Reagan. That's exactly how you want to respond, especially after a game last night.
Grishatov entering the zone, dropped it back. Here's Otson. It'll be back into the corner. Grishatov has it along the half boards near side in the Chippewa end. The Knight steps free. A shot that was deflected at the point of release by Sam Kamara. Gleisner was able to get a glove on it nonetheless. Now a spin around shot, saved by Gleisner. He was able to get that left pad out and stop Otson. A couple of seconds left on the Chippewa minor. Grishatov right in a shot that was gloved down by Gleisner, and that'll draw the ire of some of the Chippewas as that shot came, again, about the same time after the whistle as that Jace Johnson shot that gave him the minor penalty.
Yeah, it was another shot in quick succession. Some of the Chippewa players over there took a little bit of an exception to that after that. No harm, no foul, but it seems like tempers are going to flare pretty quickly given the fact that there was already a 5-minute major and now another quick shot in succession.
Yeah, indeed. Don't know how much time is left on the Jace Johnson penalty. They don't have anything up on the board right now. Brendan Clements wins that faceoff for CMU, and they'll work it back defensively. CMU's back to full strength. They're on the power play here for the next 3 minutes. Nathan Bottles up the right wing of the Knight and will circle to the outside and put it behind the goal. 13:50 remaining here in this first period. We're in a tie hockey game at Eagles Ice Center. Head on left wing. Campbell across to Bottles. Back to Campbell. He dropped it off to nobody in particular. It's loose at the point. Collected by Morgan, but good forecheck pressure here by the Knights from Perrins to work that puck free, and he's away on left wing. He has it on the near side. He'll swing it around the boards. Still 5-on-4 for Central Michigan for another couple of minutes. Puck played along the near side half boards. This Knight forecheck really not allowing Central Michigan to break out of their own zone here on this power play. Siraki on the near side. He will fire it in on goal. Back behind his own net, Ian Schweigert plays it. Had a goal last night. And he'll move out. On the near side, Gabe Sova will flop it into the opposite corner. Nathan Rubline, the defenseman converted to forward for Calvin, will pin it up against the boards behind the net. And it's eventually fished free out of the scrum. We got 2 minutes remaining in the Calvin Major for boarding against Owen Diker. Central Michigan on the power play this season, 8 for 30. They were 0 for 1 last night. Here's a shot from a sharp angle by Jace Johnson. Rebound behind the net. Hutton tried to stuff it home on the near side. Couldn't go. Kamara back at the right point. Slides it across to Jace Johnson. Top of the left circle. Here's a shot. Save. Rebound is loose on the right wing circle. It was poked away to the point. Kept in by Kamara. Feeds it down the wall for Hutton. He trades places. Tries to feed it out in front. It was deflected behind the net. Rims its way up to the left point. Jace Johnson has it there. 12:16 to go in the period. Jace Johnson steps in, shot blocked. Rebound. Hutton on the near side. Couldn't find a handle on it, and it's loose behind the cage. Once again, Hop up to the near point. Kept in by Kamara. Good play there. Here's a shot. That was blocked. Rebound. Kamara is able to chop it across to the far boards. 11:58 to go in period one. This is sent down the ice by the Knights on a turnover. A minute remaining on the power play for Central Michigan. That came, and it started at 4:07. It's going to end at 9:07. Up the wing, here's Isaac Hop, steps over the line around his man. Lost the puck, though, as he tried to center it. It'll roll in on Goheen, and he holds for a whistle. 11:36 to go here in period one. Back and forth action, but again, it's been dominated by Calvin's forecheck.
It has, Reagan. That physicality by Calvin again being showcased here early in this one. Central Michigan so far able to match them in terms of getting to that puck and creating good scoring chances, as there have been a couple rebounds poked out by Trent Goheen.
Draw to his right, in the Calvin end to our right. Calvin wins the faceoff. They get it up to the point, kept alive by Bottles. Onto the stick of Morgan. He holds right half wall near side. He'll chop it up the boards. Here to Nathan Bottles. 30 seconds to go on the power play. One-touch pass back up to the right point for Martin. He holds there. He'll wander down the wall, throw it off the end boards. It's loose behind Goheen. Picked up by Siraki. Tried to send it out in front. It was knocked away. They're on a good play by Preston Berta. The defenseman out of Catholic Central is unable to clear the puck, though. Kept in by Morgan at the left point, down to Bottles. He tried to flip it up to the point, unable to be kept in as it goes under the stick of Chris Martin. That's just about going to do it on the power play. Here is out of the box. Steps Owen Diker. CMU 0 for 1 on the 5-minute major that was really a 3-minute power play. Now Gabe Sova keeps the puck alive in the right wing half boards for Calvin in the Central Michigan end. Thrown around the boards to the near side by Preston Berta. Held here by Otzen on the near half boards. He gets it back. One touches it down to Sova. Sova's behind the net. Dangling around. Pulls it into the slot. Lets a shot go. It's deflected up and out of play. Boy, a flurry of activity in the Central Michigan. 10.5 to go here in the first.
Calvin doing a great job of getting traffic in front of the net, making it difficult for Isaac Gleisner, but you see Central Michigan getting their sticks down in those shooting lanes again. You saw that yesterday. That only allowed Calvin only 1 and 2 goals respectively in the latter 2 periods, but Central Michigan doing a good job of that so far in this first.
Play back underway. Calvin won the face-off. Central Michigan got it quickly out, but it's handled and neutralized by Grishatov. His pass ahead too far for his man, and Maddox Grimes will play it back for CMU in his own end. Up ahead through center, here's Andrew Miller in a 2-on-2 with Gabe Sova coming back defensively to make it a 2-on-3. Miller will flop this in on Goheen. He will hold and hand the puck off to the nearest linesman. 10:06 to go here in this opening period. We're tied at 1. Central Michigan only trailed for 1 minute in this hockey game. Chris Bibelos opened up the scoring at 3:47. Owen Campbell tied things up just a minute later on a 4-on-4. Once again, face-off won by Calvin in their own end. They sky it off the high glass and out to center. Knocked down skillfully there by Hutton. It's played on ahead. Looked out. Knights are right in, and a shot deflects up and out of play. Brock Hirth, who had an assist last night, and on the rush for the Knights.
That breakaway for Calvin comes from that hit along right in front of the stanchion there, and it was a quick 2-on-1. Another shot deflected out of play for Central Michigan.
Here's a shot from the left half wall, deflected just wide of Gleisner. Played back up the wall across the way. It's held on to by the Knights. They play it down the wall. Held in the corner there by Klumperens. Centering feed to the right wing circle. Nobody home there for the Knights. It's picked up instead by Klumperens. Had a hat trick a night ago. Throws it down behind the Central Michigan net with 9:30 remaining this opening period. Armentrout on the near side lost control of the puck. Look out. Here's Van Scheppen working in. Shot block. Rebound is loose out in front. Cleared by CMU. First line out here for the Chippewas. Jace Johnson ahead. Lost the puck right onto the stick of Ian Schweigert. Knights have numbers. Up the right wing, it's Schweigert across that line. Steps into the shot. Saved by Gleisner, and he holds on. And Schweigert comes in, snows the netminder. And now Chris Armentrout coming to the defense of Gleisner with 9:09 remaining in this first period.
Saw moments yesterday, too, Reagan, of Chippewas standing up to their netminder. Caleb Ullery had a tough night last night, but Central Michigan tried to fire their team up by not really instigating the fights, but, just saying a little bit of extra words to try and fire their team up. They're doing that exactly again here today.
Draw to the left of Gleisner, won by Central Michigan, but the only option they have is to throw it around the boards. It's intercepted, though, there by Josiah Lambers. A shot from the point by Bibelos goes wide. Bowerson chips it up the far wards. It comes back out to center, but still firmly in the possession of the Calvin Knights. Bibelos over the line, open up the scoring, just 3:47 in. And this one rolls in on Gleisner from the near side half boards. He paddles it back into the corner. Sent out to the point, kept alive, though, by Lambers. He coughs it up, and Central Michigan will move up. Pass ahead by Jake Bishop. A tad too far for Owen Campbell, and it'll go for icing against the Maroon and Gold.
Central Michigan trying to utilize those long stretch passes and almost turn it into a dump and chase kind of game. Again, it's something that CMU is relatively known for, especially in these recent years, and haven't been able to connect with anybody too much yet in the offensive zone.
Jake Bishop able to get the puck out of the defensive zone off that CMU faceoff win. 8:30 to go in this opening period. We are deadlocked at 1. Connor Morgan, a big hit up the far side. That's going to draw a penalty, though, against Central Michigan. Morgan's going to go off for an elbow. The second elbowing penalty he's had in the same number of nights, and the Knights are going to go back onto the power play here.
Yeah, tough penalty to take for Connor Morgan. Jace Johnson went off earlier for the unsportsmanlike conduct, but again, in talking with head coach Brendan Martin, it's all about keeping the Chippewas out of the box, and Connor Morgan unfortunately taking his turn in the penalty box. Central Michigan back to work on the penalty kill for the first time today.
It'll be a 2-minute penalty, and I believe the reason we didn't see the scoreboard up earlier is I don't believe the penalty clocks are working. Calvin has it at the right wing circle. They feed it back up top. Another one-touch pass to the near side. Look out, a man wide open. Shot saved by Gleisner. Shot came on the near side there by Sergei Yakunin. Now it's fed across to the far side. Knights have the puck. Right wing point. Fed back up to Lambers. He feeds it back to center point, near side. Bibelos out in front. Loose puck. A shot by Rediersma. It's loose at the side of the net. It comes free behind the goal. Now, Rediersma again, right wing circle. Feeds it back up top for Yakunin. He holds it at the point, and that's Diker. Diker wandering. Rediersma, shot deflected just wide of the goal from the right wing circle. Once again, Diker on it. Behind the net to Bibelos. Bibelos battling for it. It comes free. Yakunin backs it up to the point for Rediersma. 7:25 to go in the period. Rediersma back to the right point. It's held there. We'll trade places with Rediersma. He and Diker at the point. Across the way. 1 minute to go in the power play. Force Calvin. Diker near side. Stepping in. Lambers, his shot skied over top of the goal. And it had enough mustard on it to go down the ice. Going way out of his goal. Trying to get CMU in a line change. It's deflected at center. Icing waved off. 7 minutes to go in the opening frame. We're deadlocked at 1 here at Eagles Ice Center. Knights working out of their own zone right to left. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Chris Martin's back in a 2-1-1 defensively. Centering feed knocked down in front before it could get to Gabe Sova. He's got on the right wing corner, though, trying to send it out in front. Clemperance has it. He coughed it up. Central Michigan takes control, sends it the length of the ice. 6:30 to go in this opening period. About 15 seconds remaining in the power play for Calvin. Other than that, a really good penalty kill to start things for CMU. Up the wing, they'll just chip it on in from Fernhout. He flops it into the opposite corner. In after it's Clemperance. Dropped it off there to Fernhout. He holds in the corner. Centering feed out in front. Penalty kill over. It's loose behind the net. Fernhout to Sova. He battles for it in the corner there with Owen Campbell. Sova, though, able to pull it free. The former Cougars behind the net, trying to work it free from a 2-on-2. Comes free to the far corner. Bishop gets it and swings it out to neutral ice where Central Michigan can regroup here, but Calvin just dumps and chases, and with the forecheck that they've got, it really is a situation that suits them. This is deflected down the ice by Central Michigan. 5:41 to go in this first period, but it's been all Calvin the last couple of minutes. They've really been able to get that forecheck rolling.
I like what Central Michigan did on the penalty kill, though, Reagan. You saw a centering feed knocked down by Chris Martin. That's a good example of making that adjustment, getting in your stick into the passing lanes. And Central Michigan able to hold Calvin to 0 for 1 on their first power play of the day.
5:33 remaining in this opening period. Reagan Cleave, Michael Rosenkrantz on the call for you from Eagles Ice Center. Nate Sova got knocked down as he crossed the line. Nate Rubline into the corner. He dropped it off to Grishitov. Grishitov feeding it out in front. Nate Rubline. His shot was blocked. 5:18 to go. They battle for it down in the corner. Bodies take a tumble. It's pulled free by Nate Sova, dangling into the slot. Good defensive play by Martin. Rebound is loose, and a penalty coming up to Central Michigan again. It's going to be Jace Johnson going down for a hold, and now Nate Sova's getting into it. Nathan Rubline's getting into it with Jace Johnson out in front. A little bit of jawing from them, and Johnson's going to go off for a penalty here with 5:09 remaining in the opening frame.
Looks like it's Julian Johnson going into the box there, Reagan, and it's another tough penalty to take for Central Michigan. They get themselves out. They get themselves off the penalty kill. They're feeling good coming off of that, and they enter right back in the box. So Calvin gets another chance at another power play here. PK's going to have to go quickly back to work for CMU.
Now they're 1 for 1 here tonight. They were able to kill off that Morgan elbowing penalty, but it certainly wasn't an easy task. It's held back up at the point. Knights on the power play. They cycle in the zone in front of us. It's held here by Rubline. Near side corner there for Yakunin. He holds along the half boards, pressured by Hutton. He works it up to the point, kept alive by Redersma. He steps around the defense. Into the left circle, a shot. He rang it off the blocker there of Gleisner. Hutton now, Morgan now in the corner, trying to work it free. Jalen McRae takes his man to the boards. 4:37 to go in the opening period. Behind the net, Knights control. In the Chippewa end to our left. Great pressure here by Lucas Hutton to work that puck free, but his clearing attempt was knocked down. It's up to the point and out. Good pressure here by Andrew Siraki to harass Lambers back to his own zone.
That is great pressure from Andrew Siraki, staying with the puck the entire time to prevent Calvin from getting back in the offensive zone.
4:11 to go in the opening period. Knights still on the power play. Look out, Redersma stepping into the shot in the right circle, blockered away by Gleisner, and that's going to be a penalty on Central Michigan. Connor Morgan took down his man, and it's going to be a power play. That is a very questionable call by the officials right there.
That looked like a clean hit from Connor Morgan to me, Reagan. Taking down his man into the near half wall right in front of us, and official went up immediately with the right hand. It's going to be another penalty on Central Michigan, and all of a sudden it's a 5-on-3 for the Knights.
Yeah, it's going to be an extended 5-on-3 too. Connor Morgan just takes his man into the boards. It looked like it was just a clean hit. Yakunin got knocked down. Instead, it's a power play for the Knights. It's a 5-on-3 with a hair under 4 minutes to go in a 1-1 hockey game. By my math, Julian Johnson's out at the 16:51 mark, so it'll be in just about 40 seconds. Knights have control off the faceoff. Schweigert at the point. Grishatov near side. Look out, a shot. That was blocked by Bowerson. Behind the net, controlled by Otson. Otson back up to the point for Furnow. He's got it left circle across to Grishatov. Back up top here for Schweigert. His shot was blocked away by Gleisner. About 20 seconds to go in this, 30 seconds to go in this power play. In the 5-on-3. Otson on the near side boards. Holds it for Calvin. Works it up top there for Schweigert. Near side here for Furnow. Stepping in shot. That was along the ice. It was blocked into the corner. He's got it back behind the net for Nate Silva. 15 seconds to go in the power play. Grishatov top of the right circle. Holds it off to the far side. Near side for Furnow. He steps in. Slap shot. Blocked in front. That was deflected right in on Gleisner. 3 seconds to go in the power play. Furnow got it. Sent it on for a deflection. And it was sent wide of goal. 5-on-4 now. As out of the box is Jace Johnson. Hop onto the ice to replace him. Knights controlling in the zone to our left. They work it back up top. Ian Schweigert. This power play unit's been out there for a while for Calvin, but they're maintaining control of the puck. On the near side, it's sent out in front. Loose puck to the back of Gleisner's net. It's chipped to the far corner. Kamara puts on the brakes, spins it up to the point. Can't get it out, though. It's held to the right point by Sova. He dipsy-doodles around to the near side for a nod. He steps in, hammers shot over top of the goal. Took an odd hop off the stanchion, and now Isaac Hop is away for CMU. Nobody with them, though. Everybody else is dead tired, going off for a line change. Hop came on to replace Julian Johnson earlier, so he's got the freshest legs of the bunch. He's applying some good forecheck in the zone 2, all right, 2:17 to go here in this period. 15 seconds to go on the minor penalty to Connor Morgan. The Knights have it working out of their own zone right to left here. Ahead is Yakunin across that line. Worked it ahead to Van Scheppen. He's harassed from behind there by Siraki. Loose puck behind Gleisner. They try the stuff around attempt. Loose out in front. Loose to the side of the net. They jam away at it. Another shot. That was blocked. It comes to the far side. Kept alive by Yakunin. Back up top. Dominant pressure here by the Knights over the last couple of minutes. Gabe Sova along the near boards. Throws it down behind the net. Gabe has it once again. Tried to fish it up to the point. Kept alive there by Lambers. He holds it near side. Long shot through traffic. Gobbled up by Isaac Gleisner. And the Chippewas finally get a breather with 95 seconds to go in this first period.
A much-needed breather at that, Reagan. Calvin continuing to pour on the pressure left and right. Chippewas thankful for that break, as there was a long shift out there for the power play unit for Calvin. As much as it was the penalty killing unit for Central Michigan, they were dead tired after that shift.
Diker's going to be chased from the faceoff to the right of Gleisner, and you can see Gleisner kind of holding onto his knees. It's been a tough last couple of minutes for the Central Michigan netminder. Lots of pressure. Chippewas haven't been able to get out of their own zone. Now Playback underway in the Chippewa end to our left. It's worked up to the right point. Diker kept it alive. Down the wall there for Nate Sova. He got tangled up with his man and Maddox Grimes. It's played along the far half boards. 1:15 to go in this first period. 1-1 here from Eagles. Look out. Stepping free. Raiders my shot. That was blocked there by Gleisner. Isaac Hopp on the rebound. Tried to chip it around behind the net, but Diker was able to block it. He works it away from Hutton. Loose puck out in front. Raiders my shot. Save. Rebound loose in the slot. And it's cleared to the near side for Hutton with under a minute to play here in this opening frame. Loose puck at the side of the net. Bouncing puck in the circle controlled by Diker. They play it back in the left wing half wall. Radersma stepping into the circle, feeds it back up top right point. Here's a shot. That was deflected just wide. Diker again behind the net with 40 to go in the period. Diker winding his way to the point. Left it off to the near side. Lambert's body's tumbling out in front. Gleisner stuck out the left pad. And Hutton now getting tangled up with a Knight out in front. The whistle is blown, and we have a penalty coming up here on somebody. Not sure who it's going to go to, though.
It was a mix-up in front there. Lucas Hutton got tangled up there. It looked like Chris Bibelos on that one. And it looked like Bibelos, not 100% sure if he took an extra shot at Hutton, but it looks like both are going to go off. So back to 4-on-4 hockey late in the first period.
And Hutton giving it to the referees, as are the Chippewa fans out in front of us there. They believe well and truly that the referees have been derelict in their duties here tonight. My only beef is with that call against Connor Morgan that seemed to be a little bit of a ticky-tack interference penalty. Nonetheless, with 34 seconds remaining in this opening period, we're going to play 4-on-4 with Bibelos and Hutton both whistled off. And in this 4-on-4 and this uneven play, at least in terms of manpower, Michael, it's really benefiting the Knights.
It really is. That opens up the ice for Calvin a whole lot more. And with so much more open ice, they're able to pour on that pressure a little more, being able to use those open wings to blister up the ice with speed valiantly and be able to get so much more offensive pressure.
Referees deciding where the faceoff is going to be. They've decided it's back in the Calvin end to the left of Trent Goheen. And now the Chippewa bench wanting an explanation on the call. 34 seconds remaining in this period. We'll play 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes. That will leak over into period number 2. But before we get there, we'll have to do the intermission report. Michael, you'll have that. We'll take a look at Chippewa out-of-town scoreboard. All things Chippewa athletics. Draw to the left of Goheen here. Campbell's going to dig in. Are we 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 here? Looks like it's going to be 5-on. Looks like it's going to be 5-on-5 for CM, or 5-on-4 here for CMU. So they get the power play out of it. I guess as a double minor to Bibelos. Play back underway with 30 seconds to go in the period. Central Michigan's able to win that faceoff. However, Knights able to get it out quickly. So Hutton off for a rough. That's his penalty. Bibelos gets a cross check and a rough. And sportsmanlike rather. Martin has it along the right point. He coughed it up though. Knights will work it out to center ice, dump it down the ice, and that should just about do it for this first period. 5 seconds to go. Martin will hold behind his net, touch it up to Campbell, and that'll do it. As we are through 20 minutes of play. Lots of fireworks, Michael, here to start this game. Both teams score early on, but it's been a little bit more uneven play since then.
It has been, Reagan. Both teams trading their like penalties here in this first period. Quite a bit of them. Taking a look, 6 different penalties for
7, actually.
7 now for a mixture of both of these teams. So both teams taking their turns in the penalty box. Some of those penalties plagued Central Michigan early. Their penalty kill unit with speed. And unassisted on that one, he let a shot go from the right wing circle, to get it past the blocker of Trent Goheen. That's where we stand after one in terms of scoring, but that wasn't without a fair share of penalties. 7 total penalties in that first period, most of them going to Central, though. Coincidentals early on Diker and Jace Johnson. Diker having that boarding penalty for the 5-minute major, and Jace Johnson went off there as well for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for the first 2 penalties. The second one come to 11:43. Connor Morgan went off for that elbowing penalty, a second elbowing penalty in back-to-back games. And Central Michigan's penalty kill unit being stout yet again. And Isaac Weissner, he's faced a total of 19 shots from Calvin, officially 19-5 in favor of Calvin. Central Michigan has not been able to get off a lot of shots, but they still have 1 goal on that scoreboard, and that's really all that matters. Taking a look at that, penalties keep going down. It was Julian Johnson going off for interference. Connor Morgan, a questionable interference called. Looked like he took down his man just along the near half wall. That resulted in a 5-on-3, but Calvin would come up empty-handed. Another good defensive stand by Central Michigan. The final 3 penalties would all come at 19:26 in the first period. Ibelos getting a roughing and unsportsmanlike conduct on Lucas Hutton, and Hutton went off as well for a roughing penalty of his own. Lots of different penalties, but Central Michigan able to hold Calvin to just 1, and Central able to respond with 1 of their own by Owen Campbell. That is where we stand after 1 period of play. Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard as I fumble through my papers here. The men's 2 team taking on West Virginia in West Virginia. CMU taking on the Mountaineers. John Gervasi has that call for you on CCHN. They're in action right now. Don't have a score update in terms of that for the men's 2 team as of this moment. Just being told it is 2-1 West Virginia by one of our camera operators, Ian Drayton. Thank you so much for providing the score updates. 2-1 West Virginia as they stand right now. The women's 2 team inactive this week. They swept Adrian last weekend, improving to 3-2 on the season. So a really good turnaround weekend for the women's 2 team. They will be back in action next week when they host Aurora at home. Aurora, big series for the women's 2 team. Taking a look at the Chippewas scoreboard. Soccer takes place at Ohio tomorrow afternoon at 1. The soccer team fell to Miami on Saturday, 2-1 in Oxford, Ohio. Taking a look at field hockey, they lost 3-1 against Miami of Ohio, and if 2 times playing Miami of Ohio was enough, what about a 3rd time? Central Michigan football playing Miami of Ohio, and at last check, the game just ended. Central Michigan falls by a final of 46-7 to the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. So Central Michigan drops to 0-4 on the road, and their road woes continue here in MAC play. Taking a look finally at volleyball. Taking on Buffalo right now. At last check, Central Michigan was up 2-0, and at last check, that 3rd set was in progress. Buffalo leading that set currently 5-3 at last check. Central Michigan looking for a much-needed sweep over Buffalo to sit comfortably in first place in the MAC. Finally, men's basketball gears up for their season. They'll take on Hillsdale in exhibition contest tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. in the Barn on Broomfield McGurk Arena. That is where we stand after the first intermission. When we come back, Reagan Cleves will have the second period play-by-play for you here on CCHN. Central Michigan and Calvin knotted up at 1.
Back for the play-by-play of period number 2, Reagan Cleves and Michael Rosenkrantz here from Eagles Ice Center. Trent Goheen for Calvin in the net to our left. Isaac Leisner in the net to our right. CMU will go right to left. Maroon uniforms with gold trim. Knights left to right. White jerseys, maroon shoulders, maroon and gold numbers, maroon pants, and white socks. This was a fast-paced opening period that saw a lot of penalties and a Calvin dominant offense yet again, 19-5, the shots on goal through the opening 20 minutes. We're underway here in the second period. Central Michigan moving out of their own zone. Connor Morgan on the near side will be pressed back to his own line. We'll feed it up the right wing side to Andrew Siraki. He coughed at the puck. It'll be chopped up into the Central Michigan bench. We'll have a face-off down on the Knights' end to our left.
That pressure from Calvin Reagan has not stopped, even right out of the gate in this second period. Only 22 seconds in, but you see that pressure there on Connor Morgan being forced to go back towards the logo at center ice and fire it up into the bench.
Earth is going to dig in with Connor Morgan, but Not anymore. Connor Morgan chased out. Andrew Siraki comes in to take the faceoff to the left of Trent Goheen. Chippewas win it cleanly. Back to the point for Martin. Shoveled it down the wall. Here for Bottles. Chippewas are on the power play to start this second period. They got a minute left in that man advantage. Here's a shot saved by Goheen. Trying to stuff it on the near side was Nathan Bottles. It's sent out and down the ice here with 19:20 remaining in this second period. Owen Campbell circling in his own end, trying to cut to the neutral zone. Good pressure here by Klumperens. Campbell over the line. Offed it up to Klumperens, who knocked it away with a stick check. Brock Hurth in there for the Knights. He coughed it up, though. Owen Campbell, he gets hauled down, and there's no penalty on that. That is incredible. Yeah, Nathan Bottles in the right wing circle. Dropped it off to Connor Morgan. He will try the wraparound. Tried to stuff it out in front for Siraki. Went off the net. Morgan, though, has it back. 15 seconds to go in the power play. Campbell up top. High slot Martin. His shot goes wide. Rebound chopped out in front. Campbell settles it down behind the net. Across the way, Bottles along the half ball. Shoveled down the wall, and the Knights are back to full strength there. Look out. They got a man behind the defense. On the near side, it's Yakunin behind the net. Just like that, the Knights are back into offensive mode here. In the far corner, it's sent out in front. Hop cleared it to the line, but not out. Kept alive by Grishatov. Grishatov tried to send it down the boards, but on his buttocks is able to knock that puck away, and the Chippewas will send us for icing. Great play by Grishatov right there, Michael. He gets taken out of the play, hit down, falls on the ice. He's able to use his length. He's 6'6", 230 to knock that puck away and negate what would have been a CMU 2-on-1.
When you have a lot of length in the height for Yakunin, 6'6". That's a big dude there for Calvin, using that length to clear the puck the length of the ice. That's a good break there for Calvin.
Chippewas ahead off the faceoff. Jace Johnson to the outside, fired that shot wide of goal. Rebound kept in by Bowerson, but his shot was intercepted and away from the Knights. Over the line, Yakunin to the right, to the left circle. A shot that was blocked. Rebound comes back up top. Another opportunity denied. It comes back into the corner where it's fed up the far boards. Grishatov down the wall. Tried to center it out in front. Blocked. It'll come to the near side corner. They battle for it along the way there. Johnson trying to pull it free. It's come up to the right point. That was blocked, and a pass ahead intended for Johnson. Cut off by Affman. Boy, Johnson would have been in on a breakaway. 17:22 to go here in the second. Chippewas and Knights deadlocked at 1. Here's Jace Johnson up the right wing. Across that line, cutting to the middle. Wrist shot wide of goal. Goheen had to be sharp to that one. Now it's sent out by the Knights down the ice. Sam Camara chases after it. Icing waved off. 3 minutes gone here in period 2. Up at the point. Knights unable to keep it in. They'll play it to the near side for Luke Affman. Pass, though, was too far for him, and he'll have to chase it back. We'll shovel it across to Austin. Riley Austin up the wing. Cut off at the blue line. Slap shot by Maddox. Grimes goes wide. Battle for it ensues up to the right point. Maddox Grimes. Another shot that was deflected just wide. Rebound. Goheen got to the post. Another opportunity, and they score! Julian Johnson from a sharp angle found the twine. It's 2-1 Chippewas.
As Julian Johnson salutes the Chippewa faithful right in front of us. That's a good gritty play there by Central Michigan. They're able to keep the puck in their offensive zone. They hack away at it. That's good offensive pressure there by Central Michigan. The first shot wouldn't go, and Julian Johnson able to pick up the rebound and find a spot to get it right past Goheen. Central Michigan leads 2-1. They have the first lead in this series.
First time they've led in this series, and it comes off the stick of Julian Johnson, who is coming off a year in which he played a decent amount of games, but he was pointless throughout the entirety of the season last year. And at this point, he was pointless through the first 8 games. He now has 2 goals in the last 3 games. And this one coming at a critical moment to put Central Michigan up 2-1, coming at 3:23 into the second period. Face off at center, Central Michigan back on it. Now here's Nate Silva trying to feather it on ahead to Fernhout. They go crashing into the corner with a couple of Chippewa defensemen. It's poked back out in front. Great play by Maddox Grimes, and he's going to draw a penalty right here. Maddox Grimes trying to get out on the breakout. He gets hauled down, and it's going to be a tripping minor on the Knights. And now are they going to call a penalty on the Chippewas as well for unsportsmanlike conduct? My goodness.
That's a penalty that cannot happen, Reagan, to the Chippewas. You draw a penalty there for Maddox Grimes. He gets tripped up. What should have been a...
Or was that just a warning? I'm not sure here. It looked like the referee blew his whistle and pointed at a Chippewa, making it look like there was at least something going to be called. However, looks like no Chippewa is going to go to the box. It's going to be a power play for the Maroon and Gold.
Looked to be just a warning indeed, Reagan. Chippewas get a big break there, though.
Chippewas on the power play, 3:43, the time of that one. It's going to be a trip. Can't see the number right now. We'll wait for the announcement. Here's a shot from the point. That deflected just wide. Siraki on the near side. Morgan tried to catch his stick. It was slashed up into the A. It's Fernhout who is off. As we hear Buck Gino, the public address announcer and 96 won the game personality here in Grand Rapids, the public address announcer for the Calvin Knights. About 40 seconds gone here in this power play for CMU. Look out, Isaac Leisner stayed behind his net. That allows the Knights to get to that cleanly. On the near side. It's sent across the way. Chippewas defending the zone to our right. They haven't been able to get out of their own zone since it was dumped in. Now steaming up the left wing, here's Nathan Bottles. Across that line with about a minute left in the power play. He centers it out in front. Morgan couldn't find a handle on it for the one-timer. Campbell holds it across the right wing circle, skipped past the defender. It'll go into the corner for Bottles. He has it there. Cross check to the boards. There by Lambers. It squirts free across the way. It's chipped up to the left point for Campbell. He holds it there. 15 minutes remaining in the second. Centering feed knocked away here by Diker, but it still comes across the way where Bottles controls. He puts it down behind the net for Siraki. Big reverse hit there on Preston Berta, knocking him to the ice. Puck is still tied up behind the Knight end to our left. Battle for it ensues. It's a 3-on-2. The white shirts outnumbering the maroon. Time continues to tick away. A good penalty kill here by the Knights. 15 seconds to go in the power play for Central Michigan. Tonight, they are 0 for 2, and this goes up and out of play. It's deflected, so the Chippewas will be allowed a line change here with 14:27 remaining in period 2.
You have to try and make something happen in these final few seconds of this power play here for Central Michigan. And that's kind of a testament, Reagan. There's 3 Calvin players battling for that puck to Central Michigan's 2. I'd like to see Central Michigan maybe try and get an extra body in there to try and win, to try and tie up, to free up that puck, rather.
10 seconds to go in the power play. Calvin wins the defensive zone faceoff, sends it down the ice. Camara trying to work it free. Couldn't rub off Klumperens, a centering feed. Couldn't find Hirth, and the Knights are back to full strength. Chippewas 0 for 3 on the power play this evening. It was back along the near corner boards, where it's battled for in the corner. Pulled free by Klumperens. Behind the net, Hutton tries to fish it up the far boards. Kept in there by Grishatov. His shot was blocked. Look out, Jace Johnson's away with speed. One man to beat. Here's Rubline. He works to the outside. Let's a shot go. Saved by Goheen. Rebound is cleared out by the Knights with 13:50 remaining here in the middle frame. Central Michigan up 2-1. Julian Johnson, second of the campaign. Broke the tie, 3:23 into this middle frame. Now Isaac Hop crunched along the boards here by Trevor Rubline. He'll chase it behind the net, feed it off to Grishatov. The sophomore out of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, is able to play it out to center. He'll control it now back after Central Michigan dumped it right back in. Up the wing. Across the line. It'll be Brock Hirth battling for it along the half boards in the Chippewa into our right. Hutton getting tied up with his man. They go into the corner boards. Knights come away with the puck. Up to the right point for Affman. His shot deflected high into the air. Gleisner tried to glove it out of the air, but it skipped to the corner nonetheless. Now the Knights pull it free. Shot saved by Gleisner. Rebound is loose out in front. Affman couldn't get it, and it's clear to the corner. Centering feed knocked away. Right back from whence it came in the right wing corner. Jace Johnson able to pull it free for CMU. Will lead the charge right to left. Ahead to his brother Julian. He was unable to control it and sent right back into the Chippewa end. 12:42 remaining in the second period, going way out of his net. Andrew Miller would have had a chance to glove that down. Look out. Back into the Central Michigan end. A racing Gabe Silva couldn't beat his man to the puck. Now the Chippewas back up the wing. Nick Kuhn on the near side. Battling for it. Morgan able to pull it free. He lays a big hit on his man at center. Gabe Silva goes down, but away with the puck comes Yakunin. He cuts it to the middle. He lost the puck, and it's going to be a penalty coming up on Central Michigan. Brennan Martin has his hands in the air in utter disbelief.
They're not going to call that on Nick Kuhn's hit there. That's a big hit in front of us. It could have been in the Central Michigan end.
It's going to be a rough here.
Yes, it is.
On Connor Morgan, his third minor penalty of the night and fourth of the weekend. That's 4 times as many as he's had all season coming into this weekend.
Only 1 penalty coming into this season, just 2 penalty minutes on the board. Connor Morgan is getting his fair share in the penalty box, but not quite the way he wants to spend his time on the ice in the penalty box, but it'll be a power play for Calvin coming up.
Referees have been calling it tight tonight already. The 7th minor penalty that's resulted in a power play this evening. Central Michigan is 0 for 3. Calvin 0 for 3 as well. Here as we approach the 8-minute mark of this second period. Morgan off and Calvin back on the power play. Bibelos had the opening goal of this game back in that first period. Central Michigan responded quickly, though. And we sit at 2-1 with Julian Johnson's goal moments ago to make it a 2-1 hockey game. Chippewas able to disrupt the entrance for Calvin, and it's back down behind the Calvin net. Held there by Yakunin, and he'll move up ice with 11:35 to go in this second period. Great work by Isaac Hopp at center ice here to knock Yakunin off the puck. It's played across the way nonetheless by the Knights. Diker into the zone. He pinwheels along the half boards left side. Dropped it off to Yakunin. He fires it around the boards. Bibelos behind the net. Pressured by Clements. They go to the corner boards. Picked up across the way. Clements once again battling for it. It's pulled free by Redersma. He left it off for Bibelos. Bibelos back up to the point, kept alive to the near side by Lambers. Diker has it, top of the right circle. Back up top for Lambers. Shot saved by Gleisner. Rebound is fired the length of the ice here by Chris Martin with 10:56 to go in the second period. Knights will once again hold behind their net. 30 seconds remaining in the power play for the Knights. It's going to be offside. A little bit of an extra move by the man entering the zone. That's Fernhout. Caused Gabe Silva to go a little bit offside. And we have a face-off just in front of the Calvin bench with 10:41 to go.
This is another really good penalty kill by Central Michigan. Isaac Hopp at center ice, knocking Yakunin off the puck. Chris Martin able to pick up the loose change and send the rebound down the length of the ice. Central Michigan special teams doing great work here today.
15 seconds to go. On the minor penalty, CMU collects the puck in their own zone, fires it down the ice. With 10:30 remaining in the second period. CMU and Calvin here at Eagles Ice Center. The Chippewas hold the 2-1 advantage as we're just about halfway through this game. Over the line, Fernhout with speed, centering feed, knocked away, Van Scheppen along the half boards. Back up top as the power play is over. Here's Affman working down the right wing, steps into the circle, a shot, saved by Gleisner. Rebound loose in the circle. Back along the near boards. Calvin trying to work it to the point, but it was intercepted. Here's Connor Morgan up ice. He's over the line onside with Gabe Silva right on his tail. He dropped it off to Siraki. His shot was blocked at the point of release. The runaround attempt caught the referee behind the goal. And it'll be collected and skied out to center by the Knights. Bowerson collects in his own zone. 10:15 gone in this second period. Back in his own end, it'll be controlled by Luke Affman, the freshman out of Grand Rapids Christian High School. Oh, leave it up the wing. Here's a shot that was snapped just wide there by Diker. This will roll in on Gleisner. Almost controlled it, but it was knocked away from him by Bowerson. Now the Knights control. Here's a shot saved by Gleisner. Rebound behind the net. Controlled once again by the Knights. Delayed penalty coming up here on Central Michigan. I didn't see where it was. Meanwhile, Redersman in the slot, shot blocked in front. Chippewas control and clear. And what's this going to be? It's going to be a cross-checking penalty.
That penalty is going to come at 10:50 in the second period. And once again, Central Michigan getting another tough penalty in this contest, Reagan. This is their second penalty in the second period, but they've already had quite a handful today. 5 in the first, now 2 in the second for their 7 on the day.
It's actually only going to be their 5th of the power play. We had 7 combined penalties in that first period. Johnson's off for a cross-check. Knights back on the man advantage. They're over 4. Look out, Grishitov in the right wing circle. Snap that over top the goal. Now Bottles battling for it at the left point, is able to clear it out. Great individual effort there by the senior out of Waterford. Now the Knights back at center, unable to control. Jake Bishop will touch that into the Knight end with 8:40 to go here in period 2. That penalty coming at 10:50, so it'll be 12:50 or 7:10 when Johnson comes back out. Now Otson right back in for the Knights. Circling around the zone to the far side. Holds up at the half wall. Back up top. Here's Diker. To the near side, Grishitov. Steps in shot. Patted away by Gleisner. Rebound. Loose in the slot. Another right pad save. Gleisner flashing that black pad. Out not once but twice to keep this game a 2-1 lead. 1 minute remaining in the Johnson penalty.
Isaac Gleisner doing a fantastic job of seeing those shots all the way. Tons of pressure out in front of him, but able to stand tall in his crease.
Diker up the wing. Interrupted by Jalen McCray. He sends this up and out of play with 7:54 remaining in period 2. Well, it's been back and forth here in this period. Both teams had their opportunities, but again, it's the penalties that have hurt Central Michigan. You get that goal early on in the second period. You have the lead now, and it's nice to play with the lead. You know the team you're playing is going to be a little bit more uppity on the pressure, but it certainly doesn't help when you're a man down for almost 6 minutes straight. Now the Knights back in the zone. Look out. Diker free in the circle, and he scores! A beautiful backdoor feed to Diker in the right circle. He lifts it over top of Gleisner. It's a 2-2 hockey game.
Eventually, Reagan, with all these penalties coming to Central Michigan, unfortunately, you could start to feel with the pressure that Calvin was bringing, one would go in eventually, and that's where the one went in. Owen Diker had a good contest last night, able to roof that shot past the glove of Gleisner, and this game is all of a sudden knotted back up at 2 at 12:19.
The 5th power play of the night finally comes to fruition for the Knights, and they've tied up the game. Here was a beautiful shot by Diker. Looked like he was going to one-time it, and he did over top of Gleisner. No chance. Now Fernhout right in shot. That was blocked before it got to Gleisner. The Knights right back in on the pressure. Here's a long shot gobbled up by Gleisner. So Bibelos was the player that was able to dig it free from the left wing circle and find Diker free in the right wing circle, and he roofed it, and it's 2-2. Now the Knights back under control. They tried to feed it to the left wing circle. That skittered free. Back into the far corner. Hop pressuring Nate Sova. It's pulled free. Nathan Rubline behind the net. He was stripped to the puck, and it comes back up to Austin to the right point. The Knight captain will fire it down the half wall where it's pinned up. 2-on-2 battle ensues. Pulled free here by Hirth. Stepping free, a Fernhout shot saved by Gleisner. And he was able to pounce on the rebound. And those whistles from the referees means there's a little bit of extracurricular after the play. Crowd gathering in front of the Calvin bench, eventually broken free. Chris Armentrout getting in there, as Chris Martin as well. Central Michigan going to have to get their men out. No, but again, the referee seeming to get a little bit involved there without calling a penalty. We've seen that a couple of times from him here tonight. And there's certainly some disgruntlement. Now a big hit behind the net. It takes down a Chippewa. It's Bowerson. He gets right back up and back into the play. He takes a run at Diker. Loose puck back into the corner. Bowerson picks it up with 6:38 to go in the period. Along the half boards near side. Chippewa into our right. Austin pulled it free for the Knights. Put it behind the goal for Camara, who will play it for CMU. He coughed it up. Hirth plays it. Gets involved with Camara again. They battle for it behind the boards. This game getting ever chippier here as we go on. Bodies flying, pulled free. Here's a shot. Save Gleisner! And he's able to pounce on the rebound. Boy, Joshua Van Scheppen pulled it free in the right wing circle. Fired it on goal. Gleisner able to hold with 6:12 remaining in the second.
That pressure continuing to mount for Isaac Gleisner, and he continues to make great saves. He let in that goal to Owen Diker, but it's good to see him get his confidence back and making some key saves to keep this a 2-2 hockey game.
You know, Michael, both those goals that Calvin has scored, they've really been point-blank opportunities that Gleisner has just not been able to find a very good shot from the Knights. Now, speaking of which, the Knights pull it free, a shot, save Gleisner, rebound is bouncing at the right side of the net. It's eventually cleared behind them. Now the Knights regain control. Sova dangling to the high slot. It's knocked away from him, and the Knights will have to regroup defensively. Played up the left wing, intercepted by Maddox. Grimes in his own end will play it off the high glass and out to center. Grishatov will play it ahead. His bounce pass off the board, so nobody in particular, intercepted by Morgan. He'll play it down behind the Calvin net to our left. 5:36 to go in period 2. We're deadlocked at 2, Calvin and Central. It's played up. Otson knocked down at center. Puck, though, right onto the stick of Diker. He's working in. Yakunin in. Shot blocker saved by Gleisner. He was able to get the blocker to it as Yakunin was in all alone. Meanwhile, Gabe Sova pulled it free. Pinwheel's in his own end. Gets knocked down by a man, and a big hit in the corner. Hutton decked his man. Chippewas get back up, and we got a hand pass called here on the Chippewas. Hutton getting tangled up with Otson as the tempers continue to boil here at Eagles.
Bodies keep flying all over the ice. This game getting ever more chippy. Tempers continuing to flare today. Lots of physical play, lots of speedy play. Being able to match Calvin a little bit more is Central Michigan, and there looks like to be a player down on the ice.
It's Connor Morgan took that reverse hit in the near corner. He's down. I apologize. That's what the whistle was blown for, not a hand pass. Connor Morgan hurt in the right wing corner as the trainer comes out and tends to him. While he does that, we'll step aside. 5:07 remaining in the second period here from Eagles. .507 remaining in the second period. Draw to the right of Isaac Gleisner here in the Central Michigan end. In the zone to our right. Chris Martin off the face-off as the Chippewas were unable to clear it. They give it away behind the net. Save for Gleisner. Rebound. It's loose in the crease. Another opportunity denied. It's loose in the right wing circle. Cleared up to the point. Shot by Rubeline was blocked. It played now down in the right wing corner. Centering feed. One-time shot fanned on. It's loose and cleared to the far corner boards. Diker controlling for Calvin. Played it down the wall. Look out, loose man in front. A shot and a save there by Gleisner. He holds with 4:34 to go. But Calvin, again, they do not miss a beat. They're right back in on the forecheck, creating havoc in the Central Michigan end.
And they've done that all series long, and they continue to do it here today. So many of Isaac Gleisner, and that backhanded shot, able to see it all the way and get it right in between the chest protector.
Now another shot right off the face-off. High of goal, kept in at the point, and feathered down low by Affman. They play it down in the corner. Bowerson will tee up and rim it around the boards, and Armentrout was able to chip it out. Now look out, Chase Johnson with speed, pressuring his man. It's loose in the circle. Johnson picks it up, tried the backhand shot that was blocked away by Affman. 4:11 to go in the second period. Central Michigan and Calvin deadlocked at 2. Now a centering feed. Hop couldn't control it. It's back up to the right point here for Bowerson. He dances around him and sends it on goal wide of Goheen. Hop knocked it down with a stick that was barely below legal height. Bouncing puck controlled by Nathan Rubline. The Catholic Central product will move it out to center ice where it's sent right back in by Bowerson. Behind the Knight net to our left is Josiah Lambers. Out of Hudsonville, Michigan. Played with Granville for 3 seasons. He's unable to control it. Now a centering feed from Jace Johnson in the night end. Came to nothing. Play along the near half boards as a result is cleared out with 3:25 to go. And boy, Michael, we see bodies continuing to fall, the chippiness and the tempers flaring here as we go on. This is a tight game. And if you remember back 4 years ago, this was almost exactly the type of game we had here at Eagles Ice Center. Physical, lots of penalties, and a really, really tight game. Now Nate Sova stepping in with a shot in the left circle. That was knocked down. Now a lead pass to Bottles. He's behind the defense. He's working in. Hooked from behind. Saved by Goheen. Trent Goheen denying Nathan Bottles. But Bottles looking at the referee like, where is the hooking call?
Not much on that shot from Nathan Bottles. Trent Goheen able to make a really good save at point-blank range. Good test for him, but he able to stand tall in his crease and make that save.
One of the rare times that Chippewas connected on a stretch pass here in this game. It almost comes to calamity for the Knights. Now Bottles once again in the corner after a couple of block shots. It's knocked down by Hutton along the half boards. Another good save there by Hutton to keep that puck in, but it eventually goes off his skate and back out to center ice where the Chippewas will send it right back into the Knight end. The Knights will move left to right. A long stretch pass was just too far for a man, but it will be beat out by Van Scheppen. Good speed there from the Knights to keep that play alive. They've got it now in the far corner, backed up top for Grishatov, but it hopped under his stick. And it's down the length of the ice. Trent Goheen way out of his net to play it to the near side. And back out to center after he rimmed it around the boards. Isaac Hopp worked over by Otson at center. Over the line right wing. He coughed it up, and it's sent back out to the neutral zone where Nick Kuhn is in pursuit. Hopp got labeled there by Grishatov at center. 6'6" against 5'10". Usually ain't going to go with a 5'10" guy's way, and this is going to be an icing on the Knights' butt, an errantly called one, so the faceoff will be at center with 1:50 remaining here in the second period.
That earlier play by Van Scheppen, he's able to beat out that icing and create a good opportunity and continue to see bodies just flying all over the ice, Reagan. It's a theme here. And Central Michigan hasn't played Calvin in 4 years, but nothing really has changed in 4 years in terms of this style of play.
Both these teams have met for historic games in the past. Dalton Sutherland scored his 100th point in a season here back during his time. That was a big goal. Now look out, the Chippewas almost give that puck up behind the net. Under 90 seconds to go in this period. The Knights work it up the right point, swung right back behind the net for Gabe Sova. He pulls it free in the circle. He gets hauled down, and the Chippewas are able to collect the loose puck, send it the length of the ice. Look out, Jace Johnson with Trent going way out of his net. And look out, the Chippewas have 6 guys on the ice, and it's going to be too many men. As Jalen McCray came onto the ice just a little bit too early, and it's going to be another Knight power play here, their 6th of the afternoon.
Another tough penalty for Central Michigan. That just could be a simple rookie mistake there for Jalen McCray. Just a little bit too antsy when he gets on the ice. Results in the too many men penalty. Calvin back on the power play. Able to get a power play goal earlier to tie up this game by Owen Diker. Central Michigan will look to avoid a repeat of that.
Julian Johnson to serve the bench minor penalty. Another late period penalty here by Central Michigan. They had one late in that first period. Didn't end up costing them as they were able to go on the power play. Meanwhile, the Knights back in with under 50 seconds to go in the period. Diker up the right point, sends it across. Yakunin, his centering feed will trickle through traffic into the right wing circle where it's played up and out by Jake Bishop. It's the first of 2 games on this sheet here tonight. Purdue Northwest takes on the Calvin D1 team at 7:30 immediately after the conclusion of this one. And it's the second straight week we've seen this Purdue Northwest team take on a team, Michael. They played the Davenport D1 team last week. And it's kind of special for Josh Gilgren. We'll get to that in a moment. 30 seconds to go here in the period. Knights still on the power play. Loose puck in front. Radersma can't find it. It's loose. It'll trickle behind the net where Bibelos will go after it. Loose puck scooped up by Yakunin. Back up to the point for Dyker. He slides it across there for Lambers. His shot blockered away there by Gleisner. Played off the end boards. Bishop's chopping at it. He couldn't get it out. Lambers kept it alive. Near side with Ayersman. In with a shot. He lifted it up over top of the goal and into the netting with 6:02 to go here in this second period. We mentioned that Josh Gilgren, who's been out of the last couple of games for Central Michigan, he played a couple seasons on Purdue Northwest, so I know at least for him, the last couple of games, he's been able to catch up with his former teammates and say hi to them. It's certainly been special talking with him. They play at 7:30, 3 seconds to go in the period. It's played along the half boards with Ayersma sent it in front, and time expires. 2-2 at the end of the second period, and boy, Central Michigan's lucky to escape this period, having only conceded one goal and get out of it tied.
Absolutely, Reagan, especially with that bench minor penalty coming at the end of that second period. So they'll be down a man with a few seconds to start the third period in this one. But you said it, Reagan. They're very fortunate to be able to only escape with one goal, knotted up at 2. It was knotted up at 1 after this. It's really going to be all about this third period, how you respond to Calvin coming out fast. They've been fast this entire game. They're going to come out fast on this power play. It's really about playing the basics and playing to your full potential for this final 20 minutes.
Central Michigan is 1-0 when tied after 2. That came in the overtime win against Ferris State back on opening weekend. We'll see how they fare, but first we got the second intermission report. We'll be right back. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard and recap this hectic second period when we come back. It's 2-2 after 40 here on the Chippewa and the CMU Club Hockey Network. Reagan Cleaves back here, radio ringside at Eagles Ice Center. Central Michigan and Calvin tied at 2 at the conclusion of 40 minutes. Well, let's talk about that second period. That was a hectic one, to say the least. Central Michigan got a power play early on, 3:43, but that was not before Julian Johnson jammed home a puck at the right side of the net. It was loose. He managed to stuff it short side on on Trent Goheen to make it a 2-1 contest. At that point for Central Michigan, that was their third lead of the season. Third lead of the series for the Chippewas, and that would hold for at least a decent amount before at 12:19, Owen Diker on a power play. Got a feed from Chris Bibelos in the right wing circle and hammered it home over top of Isaac Leisner. But the story of this period was not necessarily the goals as we came out tied even on the scoreboard. The penalties have not been even in this game. Central Michigan has been whistled for penalties 6 times in this game, 6 power plays for Calvin. They're in the midst of their 6th one on the night. They're only 1 for 5. So Central Michigan, credit to them, has done a very good job of shutting down that power play. But in reality, they've been running around like chickens with their heads cut off in their own defensive end, unable to get to the puck on time, being beaten to the puck by this Calvin Forchek. The turnovers they have created have been good reaches with the stick, and it has allowed Calvin not really to get a ton of scoring opportunities, but when they have, Isaac Leisner's, boy, he's had to maintain his composure. As we mentioned, Central Michigan, when they're tied after 2, they're 1-0. They've only been tied once this season, and they've only led twice. And those were both in the Davenport series. So this is really the closest game that Central Michigan has played against a team that made it to the national tournament a year ago. We saw them fall 5-4 to Michigan State. But in that game a couple of weeks ago, it was really Michigan State dominating early on in that series. And they had 2-goal leads at multiple points in that game. Central Michigan, they were able to come back multiple times. They never held the lead. They've held the lead tonight, and we'll see what they can do come the third period in about 5 minutes' time. Before we get to that point, though, let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. The Grand Rapids Griffins continuing their 4-game East Coast trip tonight at 7:05 at Lehigh Valley. The Phantoms host the Griffins at 7:05. You can listen to that game. Bob Kaiser has the call on 96.1 The Game. You can also watch on AHL TV on Flow Hockey. But they're 4-1 coming out of the opening game. They had a 2-1 come from behind victory versus Springfield last night, and this is the second of 4 games they will play on the East Coast. They play Lehigh Valley again tomorrow to cap the 3-3 before heading to Hartford on Wednesday to take on the Wolfpack down there on the East Coast. Meanwhile, for the Saginaw Spirit, they're 6-4-1. Coming into their matchup tonight against the London Knights. Another matchup from the Memorial Cup final a year ago. They're coming off of a 5-3 loss against Sioux yesterday. Dylan Clark has the call for you on 100.5 WSGW, and you can watch that on CHL TV. Meanwhile, the Red Wings earlier today suffering a 5-3 loss at the hands of the Buffalo Sabres. They came back from a 2-goal deficit, grabbed the lead, and then the Sabres came back and ended up winning that game. The Wings fall to 4-4 on the campaign. And that's coming off of a really hard-fought, gritty win against New Jersey back on Thursday. So tough loss for the Red Wings, but they'll be back in action tomorrow. 2 games in tonight, a back-to-back. They'll take on Edmonton at Little Caesars Arena at 6 p.m. You can listen to that game on 97.1 The Ticket, Ken Paul Woods, or listen on the NHL app and website. You can also watch it on FanDuel Sports Detroit. Finally, we can't go without mentioning the Michigan and Michigan State football game tonight. The Wolverines struggling after that national championship a year ago, to say the least. They hope to get a win tonight against Michigan State. MSU obviously looking to get a win over their biggest rivals. That game starts at 7:30, which will hopefully conclude right after we get this one done. 2-2 after 40 minutes. We'll be back, Radio Ringside, with the play-by-play of period number 3 coming up next. Stand by. More coming your way from Eagles Ice Center here on CCHN.
back here inside Eagles Ice Center for period number 3 here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Back here for third period action, knotted up at 2, where we stand after 2 periods of play. Central Michigan, Reagan, coming back in the third period. They still got a little bit of work to do in terms of the PK.
Yeah, they do. Julian Johnson serving a bench minor penalty, taken at 18:53, so they got about 53 seconds remaining on that power play. For Calvin, they've been dominant on the power play, not necessarily in the goal category. They're only 1 for 5, but they have used that power play to wrench the momentum away from Central Michigan's hands at points and to basically control the pace of this game. Central Michigan had that happen to them last night, and their penalty kill recently has been pretty good. 13 for 19 in their last 4 games, excluding tonight. If you want to add that, they are now 17 for 24. They still got a penalty to kill, though, here in this one. Calvin able to get into the offensive zone quickly, but Chippewas able to stymie that. Now Radiersma back in for the night. Dropped it off. A one-time shot by Diker. Glove down by Gleisner. He holds on with 19:37 to go in the third.
You talk about Isaac Gleisner. We talked about him in a little bit, but he has played great so far in this game. You touched on it in your intermission, Reagan, but coming out of that second period, Calvin leads in the shot category 36-11, now 37-11 with that shot that was saved by Gleisner.
And there's another shot from the right wing half wall, whistled wide of goal. Big hustle by Josiah Lambers to keep that puck in, but his centering feed to Diker was too hot, and it leaped back out to center ice. 15 seconds to go on the penalty. That Julian Johnson is serving for CMU. Out at center, Yakunin over the line to the outside. Hutton pressures him to the corner. They work behind the goal to the far corner. Hutton, a big play there to get Yakunin out of the play. CMU is able to flush this out to center. Andrew Sirach in a 2-on-2, cutting to the right wing circle. His shot that was blocked at the point of release by Josiah Lambers. Rebound back in the left wing circle. Backhanded out to Lambers. Here come the Knights over the right wing. Bibelos pulls up on the half wall. He gets hammered into the boards by Connor Morgan. He's got to watch out. He's already picked up 3 minor penalties in this hockey game. Nick Kuhn through center, knocked off the puck at the Eagles Ice Center logo across the line. Here's a shot that's deflected way up and out of play, even over top of the netting to our left. Stoppage of play with 18:32 remaining.
Want to remind you, fans, that the broadcast of today's game is a copyrighted presentation of the American Collegiate Hockey Association, CM Club Hockey Network, and Moore Hall Television. No reproduction, retransmission, or other distribution of the descriptions of the counts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the ACHA, CCHN, and MHTV.
Pass ahead to Armin Trout at center. Cut off. Now Van Scheppen right in. Whistled it over top of the goal from the bottom of the left wing circle. Chase Johnson goes tumbling into the boards there with Klumperens. The pair get up, and it's to the Chippewas' benefit as Klumperens was tied up, and the Knights couldn't pursue the puck in the Chippewa end. They caused a turnover, though, on the breakout. Hirth working down in the left wing corner. He pulls it free, pressured by Martin to the far boards. Johnson gets control of the puck, and he labels his man across the way. Meanwhile, Klumperens steps in with a shot, and it's gobbled up there by Gleisner. Look at Chase Johnson there, Michael, laying the body with 2:10 gone here in this third.
That physicality has not gone away. Jace Johnson standing up his man right in front of his bench, which elicits a huge reaction, and trying to get that mojo back in Central Michigan to try and take the lead in this third.
The sophomore out of Brownstown has made a heck of an impact here for Central Michigan in his 2 seasons of play. Now the Knights back into the offensive end, kept in just barely. Connor Morgan sitting right there, put his head to the sky. He thinks the referee got it wrong. Nonetheless, play continues. Nate Sova pressuring for the Knights. Chippewas clear to the point, kept in there by Grishatov. His shot blocked down by Nathan Rubline, pulled free by Fernhout, centering feed. One time was fanned on by Nate Sova. Another shot that was blocked in the right wing circle by Bowerson. It goes up and out of play, 2:50 gone in this third period.
Two very close keep-ins there for Calvin into the offensive zone. That pressure keeps going on. Central Michigan doing another good job of keeping those sticks down in the shooting lanes, disrupting them and having those pucks go up into the netting to disrupt the offensive momentum of Calvin.
Off the tie-up, it comes to the far side. Otson back up to the right point. Here's a shot through traffic. Blocked. Rebound. What a save by Gleisner. Another opportunity was denied. Boy, stoned Yakinen on the near side. Now, Gabe Sova deflects this in. Behind Gleisner, who has had to make some dandies here in this one. Rishatov deflected this in, and we have a whistle. It's going to be a hand pass called on the Knights, and they'll have a face-off back in their own end. 16:39 to go here in period 3.
Gleisner's had to make some big saves. That arguably, Reagan, might be the biggest save of this contest here. You look to be down and out, a gaping cage, and able to get a pad on that to prevent Calvin from taking a possible 3-2 lead.
Gleisner didn't even look like he was trying to make this save, just trying to get back to his feet. He somehow was able to find the puck with his right pad and stop Yakunin from making this a 3-2 Calvin lead. Now Grishatov in from the left wing circle, save there by Gleisner once again. Just under 4 minutes gone here in this third period. Poke checked away from the side of the net there by Hutton. It's played on the near side. Armentrout crunched to the boards. This puck will go down the length of the ice with exactly 4 minutes gone. We're in a 2-2 hockey game. Michael Rosenkrantz, Reagan Cleaves here from Eagles Ice Center. This will go for icing against the Knights, and they'll have to keep their line out there. It's been a dominant game here for Calvin. They've had upwards of 15 or more than 15 shots in both of those first two periods, but then Central Michigan only mustering 11 shots across the first 40 minutes. Draw to the left of Trent Goheen. And the Knight end to our right, won by the Knights, but they're unable to gain firm control of it. Chippewas kept it alive at the point. They throw it down low, taken here by Luke Affman. Up to the point, kept alive. Nathan Bottles couldn't fire a shot on goal. He's hauled down, and away comes Gabe Sova. He'll flip it out to center. Yakunin, nifty move, working right in, and a save there by Gleisner. 15:25 to go in period 3. We are tied at 2. Goals for Central Michigan from Campbell and Julian Johnson, Diker and Bibelos. The goal scorers for Calvin. Here comes Schweigert across that line into the right wing circle. Dropped it off for Diker. He puts on the brakes in the far half wall. Works up to the high slot. Here's a shot, ripped it high. Back on the near side for Austin. Austin has it. Along the near side, corner boards. Dropped it off for Redersma. Redersma reverses to Austin. His spinner on shot. That was blocked in front of Gleisner. And a backhand attempt by Bibelos was denied. Redersma back in the near corner. Working up the half board to the backhand. Working into the slot. Works in shot. That was blocked. Bishop trying to clear it. Goes off a Knight skate. And it'll be kept in here by Redersma. His shot gobbled up there by Gleisner with 14:35 to go. Redersma, a one-man wrecking machine in that offensive end for the Knights. And he's able to keep the pressure up.
Redersma getting his own rebounds, just circling back, and not much pressure on him by the Central Michigan defense. Gleisner having to make some more good saves. Gleisner stands tall, but I'd like to see the defense tighten up there if you're Central Michigan.
Morgan chased from the face-off circle. Siraki in, he loses it cleanly to Diker. Now, here's Schweigert. He takes down his man, and Siraki will pinwheel off the turnover. His feet ahead, intercepted fairly easily, a nifty drop past to Redersma. He's in shot, saved by Gleisner. Rebound is loose in the right wing circle. Redersma goes tumbling into the net, and he knocks the net off his moorings. He and Gleisner exchange a fist bump. No hard feelings between the two. And we'll have a face-off in the Central Michigan end with 14:16 to go in regulation.
Fans, don't forget the CMU Club Hockey Network YouTube channel is your one-stop shop for highlights, exclusive interviews, and full game broadcasts for all CMU hockey teams. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so as to never miss a moment of Chippewa hockey. CCHN, your home for Chippewa hockey.
Knights win the face-off at center ice on the near side. It's slapped in by Lambers. Across the way, Kamara forwards it on ahead to Kuhn. Too hard for him, and Hirth slaps it And gains control on his own rebound. His shot saved by Gleister. Rebound. It's loose in the crease. And the netminder plops the black glove on top and holds with 4:01 gone in this third period.
More offensive pressure by Calvin. At this point, CMU was trying to do anything they can to get it out of the offensive zone, but Calvin just outpacing them step for step, pouring on that pressure. Central Michigan has to get it out of the offensive zone.
Draw to the right of Gleisner, won by the Knights. Lambers at the point. On the near side, shovels it down behind the goal. There for Van Scheppen. His centering feed is taken by Armentrout. Slat down the ice. Icing is going to be waved off. Goheen came out of his net to put a halt to things. And the Knights will try to break out right to left here in this third period. We're tied at 2 at Eagles Ice Center. And what do we have here? A penalty. It's going to be a slash. And so, I believe Central Michigan is going to head back. Pardon me, no, we're going to head back to the penalty kill. It's going to be Armentrout to take a seat in the sin bin, and so Central Michigan now on their 7th penalty kill of the evening.
CMU's only allowed 1 power play goal. That penalty killing unit has been going to work for a vast majority of this contest, but it stood tall, hoping to keep this deadlocked at 2.
How long can you go keeping this night power play at bay? They entered the contest at 42%. Now Nathan Bottles away shorthanded to the outside. Lets a shot go, saved by Goheen. It's loose out in front. Bottles works in, saved by Goheen. It's loose. They jam away at it. It's still loose and eventually pops free into the corner. My goodness. That puck was loose for about 10 seconds in the crease of Goheen in the night and to our right, and somehow CMU could not capitalize. Now up to Wayne Fernhout. Across the line, dropped it off for Gabe Soe. He collected the loose change, dropped it to Affman. Back to the near side, Fernhout. Down the wall to Sova, back up to Fernhout near side. He holds in the circle, steps behind the net. Here for Gabe Sova. Tried the wraparound, good poke check there by Hutton. They go to the corner. They battle for it there. Pulled free here by Van Scheppen. He's got it in the corner. It's behind the net. Central Michigan look out. Fernhout, a one-time blast from the bottom of the left circle off the mask. There of Gleister. Rebound comes into the corner. They battle for it there. The white shirts pull it free. Behind the net, Sova putting on the brakes. Pressured here by Lucas Hutton. They go behind the net. Puck now comes to Klumperens in the right wing corner. He tries to feed it on goal. It's loose out in front of Gleister. Right pad save. Rebound is loose. It's behind the net for Van Scheppen again. Van Scheppen's got it. It's loose. A backhand shot save. Rebound. No, they're going to wave it off. The net was off its moorings. The Knights complaining. But somehow that puck was kept out just long enough before the net came off its moorings. We remain tied with 12:04 to go in the third.
Huge break there for Central Michigan. It looked like it might have hit a body as well out in front to put it into the net. The net just coming off of its moorings in the nick of time for Central Michigan. That goal officially waved off. It remains 2-2. Disaster avoided for Central Michigan. Calvin still going at it with the officiating crew.
And I think rightfully so. You see that goal scored, and at least from our vantage point, it looked like the referee was just about to blow the whistle as the puck entered the zone. He immediately waved it off. He saw that net come off before that net crossed the goal line, or the puck crossed the goal line. So we remain tied 2-2. 7:56 gone here in this period. 30 seconds to go on the power play for the Knights. Grishatov back up at the left point. He walks down the wall, sends it across. Rubline has it there. That's Trevor. Will walk down the wall, set a shot that goes wide. More of a pass than a shot. And the Chippewas are able to clear the rebound with 11:50 to go here in regulation. We're tied 2-2. Reagan Cleaves and Michael Rosenkrantz on the call from Eagles Ice Center. Chippewas had a 2-1 lead. But a power play tally late in that second period from Diker made it a 2-2 game. Speaking of which, Diker down the wall as the penalty has expired. Up top to Bibelos. Back down the wall. It's held here by Redersmont. Redersmont cutting into the slot. Found 4 Chippewas in front of him. Chippewas can't clear though. Grishitov shot, save, rebound, they score! Radersma found the rebound out in front. Grishitov's shot to the left circle was saved by Gleisner, but Radersma's there to pot it home. It's a 3-2 game. Calvin with their first lead since the 3:47 mark of the first.
That just comes from an offensive face-off win and Calvin's continuous pressure in the offensive zone all night. Radersma, right place at the right time, gets the rebound and able to poke it in past Gleisner, and Calvin has momentum, swung their way. They now have the first lead since early in the first period.
Well, Grishitov and Bibelos connecting on the assist. Bibelos, his third point of the night. He has been on the ice for each and every one of these Calvin goals. Scored the opening tally, in a sense assisted on the next two. So the Knights have come from behind. They now lead by one. Central Michigan, again, it's not a penalty. It's not a power play goal per se, but certainly the momentum from that power play has helped the Knights to gain control and maintain that offensive zone pressure. Now they're right back in. Now look out, a loose puck to the side of the net after Otson went after it. It was chipped just wide, and the Chippewas were able to get this back out to center. Just about halfway through this third period, Central Michigan and Calvin battling it out at Eagles Ice Center. Stepping over the line for the Knights, Schweigert dropped it off right circle. A shot saved by Gleisner. Rebound is taken here by Kuhn. He got worked over though by Hirth. Hirth kept it in at the point, throws it down behind the net. Big crunching hit on Bowerson behind the net there by Klumperens, and CMU nonetheless is able to get it out before it's sent right back in. Boy, massive pressure here by the Knights. A bouncing puck saved by Gleisner, and it sent the length of the ice. Connor Morgan slow to get up in the corner. We saw him go down in that second period. He's now slow to get back to the bench. Almost doubled over. Now the Knights. Hirth over the line, stepping in right circle. Shot, he scores! Brock Hirth fired that in from the right wing circle, his second of the campaign, and it's 4-2 Knights with 2 goals in about a minute and a half.
That third goal swung the momentum in favor of Calvin. That puck was cleared out into the Calvin end, but Connor Morgan going off the bench, that opened up the ice a little bit more as he was slow to go over to the bench. Hirth able to work into the right wing circle and find an open lane and blister it past Isaac Gleisner, and Calvin has their biggest lead today.
Now Coach Brendan Martin's asking the referees a question. Maybe it revolves around Connor Morgan going down in the corner. Maybe why the play wasn't blown dead. Maybe why there wasn't a penalty called, and he's given it to the official, and the Chippewas are going to call a timeout here. Time on the ice, we'll take one as well. 9:22 remaining in regulation. Knights score 2 quick goals, and they're up 4-2 here at Eagles Ice Center. Both teams break the huddles across the way as we are back and ready to go for the final 10 minutes and change of this third period. Central Michigan has conceded 2 goals in a matter of a minute and 56 seconds as the Knights have quickly jumped on top by 2 goals. Puck down in the corner. One back up top to the Chippewa blue line. Look out, Jace Johnson blocks a shot and he's away and on a breakaway. Lambers coming back, and Jace Johnson lost control of the puck and tries to go for the body, but Lambers comes away with the puck. As a result, back up at the point. And it's played back out to center. Lambers to the back door. Nathan Rubline in, a shot saved by Gleisner. Boy, Nathan Rubline was wide open on the back door. Now, meanwhile, play continues. Knights controlling the Chippewa end. Nate Sova pulls it free, bouncing puck at the side of the net. Cleared up the wing. Now Jace Johnson away with Chris Armentrout. Up the left wing. He's got two men to beat. Tried to center it to Armentrout. Knocked into the corner. Penalty coming up here on the Knights. They play it down in the corner, and it's going to be a roughing call on the Knights. So the Chippewas, for the first time since the 3:43 mark of the second period, are going to head back onto the power play here.
And a desperate power play at that, Reagan. Looked like Jace Johnson, a little bit of contact there from his man. And that results in the roughing penalty. Going into the box is Hayden Fernhout for this Knights team. And again, it's a really important power play for Central Michigan. Have to try and respond to try and claw yourself back into this contest late in the third.
Fernhout off for a rough. The fourth power play of the night for Central Michigan. Bouncing puck controlled by the Knights, and they're way short-handed. Look out, Chris Bibelos in all alone from the red line. In on a breakaway to the backhand. Big save there by Gleisner, and another opportunity. Rang it wide. Net momentarily came off its moorings. The referee will put it back on, but a great short-handed opportunity there for the Knights. Gleisner comes up big. Chippewa still trail by 2. 7:48 to go in regulation. Nathan Bottles cutting through center across the line, lost the puck. The Knights will take it and send it down the length of the ice. Those two goals, 1 minute and 56 seconds apart. Not the fastest consecutive goals given up by the Chippewas this season. That goes to DeMitchell and Adams back on September 14th against Ferris State, where they scored 2 goals in 38 seconds. Jace Johnson, meanwhile, back in on goal. Trent Goheen made the save. Jace Johnson takes the spiel along the half boards across the way. It pops up in the air. Siraki kept it alive down low for Isaac Hopp. They battle for it in the corner, sent across to the near side. Big hit there by Siraki. He laid down his man. Knights bench calling for a penalty. They aren't going to get it. Instead, they'll get a clearing down the ice. Under 7 minutes to go in this third period. 30 seconds to go here in this power play for CMU, their 4th of the night. They've done diddly squat on any of them. This dump and hits the referee, shakes that right arm. Meanwhile, the Chippewas have to defend and poke the puck away defensively. Camara across to Jace Johnson. He's across that line left side. Working down into the corner to the outside. Protects the puck loose in the left circle. Scooped up by Hopp. He's got along the half wall. High slot for Camara. His shot blocked. Comes back to the near side for Hutton. Out of the box. There is Fernhout. We're back to 5-on-5. CMU 0 for 4 on the night. Here's a shot that was blocked by Goheen by Jace Johnson from the point. They play it back down in the corner. Scooped up by the Knights. They'll work up the left wing. And it's sent out here by Van Scheppen, and he'll go in on the forecheck with 6 minutes to go in regulation. CMU down by 2 here in the third. Houghton will play this off the high glass on the near side, out to center. It'll be slapped right back in by Josiah Lambers. He's had a good weekend here. Picked up an assist, but also had 3 assists last night in that 7-1 win for Calvin. Now Nate Redersma up the left wing. Leisner fell into the net, knocked it momentarily off its moorings. He's going to shove it back on. Meanwhile, play up at the right point, kept alive by the Knights. They shovel it down low. Bibelos centering feed, knocked away, and Nick Kuhn will take it for CMU. Backhand feed ahead to Andrew Siraki. Had his 3-game point streak snapped last night. 5:12 remaining in this third period. 4-2 Knights lead. It's been back and forth, but again, Michael, the Knights have just dominated throughout this game. Bibelos back up at the point, lost his backhand shot in on Gleisner, and the Chippewas finally clear. We're under 5 minutes to go. Central Michigan hasn't had basically any opportunities in the offensive end for the last 2 minutes.
No, they haven't, Reagan, and it's been, again, a testament to how good this Calvin offense is in that forecheck. They continue to rely on that forecheck in this contest, and they're doing a stout job.
Speaking of the forecheck, Redersma beat out Brandon Clements, unable to get a shot off, though, as he tumbled to the ice. 4:30 to go in regulation. Chippewas need 2 to extend the game. Nice to set the length of the ice, and icing whistle down before anybody got to even the top of the circle. The Chippewas will take an offensive zone faceoff with 4:24 to go here in period 3.
At this point, Central Michigan will take anything at this point to get an offensive zone face-off. They haven't had one in what seems like forever, ever since that power play not too long ago.
A lot of left to Trent Goheen. Right end to our right. One end controlled by Calvin. They'll play it up the right wing and out with speeders Nate Silva to the outside. He was poke checked there by Sam Camara, who will chip that out to center. With 4:10 to go. We'll keep our eye on Gleisner to our left. Fernhout out at center. Now has to backtrack to his own line. There for Grishatov. Grishatov ahead through center. Sam Camara tried to take a flying hit there on Nate Silva and completely fanned on it. That draws some cheers from the night bench. Meanwhile, Central Michigan left to right. Here comes Jace Johnson. Head to Isaac Hopp. This line usually dominant, but without Isaac Gibbs here with that game disqualification yesterday, they've struggled to get much going. Now Fernhout over the line, right wing for the Knights. He dropped it back in the circle for Silva. His shot goes off the side of the net. It comes back up top. Here's another shot through traffic off the right pad of Gleisner and into the corner. 4:35 to go here in period 3. Centering feed knocked down. It's loose. Fernhout can't fight it in his skates, and it's cleared back out to center by Central Michigan. 3:17 to go here in period 3. The Chippewas all off for line changes. Fernhout's got the puck across the line on a stretch pass. Whole circle back up to the point, tried to reverse course, but he's stripped of the puck by Andrew Siraki. He's down the right wing into the shot save by Goheen, who holds on with 3:02 to go in period 3.
Good heads-up play there by Siraki on the near boards to poke that puck free. Tries to use his speed to work up the near wall. Tries to fire a shot. It was a gaping left side of the cage, but Goheen able to stretch out the glove and make an easy save.
Draw to left here of Goheen again. He's been good tonight, allowing 2 goals, but he's come up with some big saves. Now Otson hauled down with an errant stick by Hutton, but Hutton had dropped the stick at that point. Now at the right point, shot deflected just wide. Comes back to the near side half board. 2:43 to go in period 3. It's bounced around and taken out here by Connor Morgan. Played ahead. Knocked down at a high stick at center. Nick Kuhn to the outside. Had his first ACHA goal last night. They battle forward in the corner. It's eventually played free to the far side. Morgan after it for CMU. He got stripped of the puck, and the Knights are away. Up the left wing. It'll be sent in by Yakunin. Across the way. That's Grimes, another freshman for CMU who's been good in his limited playing time. He's able to fish that puck free before it got tied up momentarily. And Connor Morgan will play it up the wing and out to center. 2:04 to go here in period 3. Chippewas have to think about pulling Gleisner at some point soon, but it's hard to pull your netminder when you can't get out of your own zone. Puck tied up in the corner. It comes back behind the Chippewa net. Centering feed by Yakuna, knocked away. He gets it back in the corner. Played it down the wall for Hurth. He got knocked down. His goal has made it 4-2. Now here comes Bottles up the left wing. Will chip it into the offensive end and go after it. Lambert's back there for the Knights. He reversed it to the nearest side. It'll be sent out by Hurth. Too far for his man at center, and it'll be played by Christopher Martin. He fished it on ahead. There for Nathan Bottles. His forwarding pass knocked down, and Hurth will send this in on goal, and Gleisner will hold with 1:17 to go here in period 3. Time winding down for CMU.
CMU was able to get it out of their offensive zone. Isaac Gleisner stayed right where he is, so very late possible pull, if any, for Central Michigan at this point. They're down 2. Who knows if they might even pull him, Reagan.
If they can't get out of the zone, they won't be able to pull him. Knights win another face-off. Shot was blocked. It comes to the far corner. Back up top to the point where it's poked ahead by Julian Johnson. He's hauled down. It's going to be a penalty on Trevor Rubine. It's going to be a trip on the Knight defenseman. So CMU will have a power play here with 1:05. And if you're Brendan Martin, you have to pull the netminder here if you want any chance, and that's exactly what he's going to do. To the bench goes Gleisner. It's going to be a 6-on-4 with 1:05 to go.
Central Michigan is going to have to try and cycle this puck quick and look for any open lanes and try and get a shot off as quick as you can to stop that clock. They have the extra attacker, 6-on-4, 2 extra attackers, pardon. So a key power play for Central Michigan.
5th power play of the night for Central Michigan. They're 0-4-4. They cough it up, though, and it's down the ice. Racing after it is Bebelos to the empty net. He scores. Chris Bebelos gets the empty netter. And that will bring the score to 5-2. That just about does it. As Bebelos gets his second of the night. Boy, what a night for him. That's now 4 points.
It was a face-off that came back to Central Michigan. They were able to control it for maybe just about 6 or 7 seconds or so, but that was it. That puck was cleared out along the near boards, and Chris Bebelos using his speed to get to the puck and fire it into a wide open cage empty net. It's 5-2 Calvin.
Short-handed empty net goal for Chris Bebelos. 2 assists tonight and 2 goals to go along with it. And Central Michigan was close in this game. They entered this third period tied, but 2 quick goals by Calvin have sealed the deal here late. Play down the Central Michigan end, but pardon me, the Eagle end. Puck popped up in the air in front of the Knight bench. Play to the near side for Camara. He holds right point with 15 to go. His shot through traffic just sent wide. Hutton, Chippewas still on the power play here. Jace Johnson back up to the point for Hutton. No urgency here as 5 seconds to go in regulation. Shot on goal wide. Comes up to the right point for Camara. No shot, and that'll do it. The Knights come from behind, score 4 unanswered goals, and win 5-2 here at Eagles Ice Center.
Tough one here for Central Michigan. Calvin dominated for the most part of this game again, Reagan. The offensive zone time, you talk about it on and on and on, but it's really been the key difference in this contest. Central Michigan unable to get out of the offensive zone when it matters, and Calvin come from behind victory of them. They sweep the series, and it's a tough way to end the 10 straight games of MCHC West opponents, but you'll go from west to east next week.
Indeed, we will. We'll step aside, recap this one, take a look ahead on the schedule for Central Michigan as they wrap up their 10 consecutive games to start their 24-25 season. Post-game show coming up next. 5-2, Calvin wins here at Eagles Ice Center.
Ay, caramba.
0 for 5 isn't going to win you any hockey games.
Nope. No, it is not.
Is Marty really going to stay and talk to them?
He's shaking hands with them now.
Yeah, of course. He always does this. The dude can't, yes, it was bad, but he does this every time. Like, you can't continue to talk. Like, dude, just get over it.
Yeah, it's like game's already over. Let's go.
58 to 15. My God. That's freaking
Wow.
pathetic.
That's-
Marty, just get over it. Walk away. Just walk away. My God. Hey, Joe. from behind. They were down early. They tie up the game. They even build a lead at one point, 3:23 in, but in the end, it was the penalties that killed them. It was a power play goal to tie it, and then they just allowed Calvin to build momentum, and build momentum they did.
Yes, they did, Reagan. Those penalties, again, you talk about it a lot, staying disciplined. Chippewas were unable to keep themselves out of the penalty box tonight, especially on the plays when those even strength opportunities, when they matter the most, you got to try and keep yourselves on even strength. Chippewas were unable to do that. And the start, getting down to a 1-0 start, they fall behind again, but they quickly respond. A good effort by Owen Campbell to tie up the game. Another quick goal by Calvin put them up 2-1. So not an ideal start, but they were able to keep it close. And having that effort early in the first and the second period, it was knotted up at the end of each period, 1-1 and 2-2 respectively in the first and second. But it was a valiant effort in the first and second period, able to keep it close throughout the hockey game, but it was the tale of the first two periods and the tale of the third period told a much different story for the Knights.
Yeah, incredible turnaround for Central Michigan from last night especially. You lose 7-1 and you come out fighting in this game. You played a much better game, even though 7 power plays for Calvin, 5 for Central Michigan. So the penalties, it wasn't exactly a cleaner game, but it was for sure a much better played game for the Chippewas here tonight, even though they ended up falling 5-2. Let's say goal by goal through this one. 3:47 into this one, Chris Bibelos, after, again, a couple of scoring chances for Central Michigan. The Knights come back the other way. It's a great centering feed from Fernhound in the left wing circle. Found Bibelos wide open in the slot. He stepped in with all the momentum behind him and snapped a blister of a shot over top of Gleiser to make it 1-0 though. Central Michigan, though, would come back exactly a minute later. Owen Campbell had on a rush, had his shot blocked at the point. He was able to find it, though, in the right circle and snap it off the post and in.
He was, and that's a good sign for Owen Campbell. He hasn't scored too many goals for Central Michigan, now only his 5th on the campaign, but that's the kind of leadership and grittiness that Central Michigan has sort of been striving for in these recent games. And Owen Campbell, the captain, he is showing the reason why he wears that letter C on his sweaters, that kind of gritty play, and a good job with him to stick with it.
Yeah, indeed, he played very well tonight. One of players who, if this had been the other way around, he might have been one of the 3 stars of the game. Instead, we entered that second period tied at 1. Julian Johnson, who we haven't really seen much over the last 2 seasons. He was pointless last year with limited playing time. Came into this season pointless through his first 8. And he gets a goal against Davenport on the road and gets another game in his second straight road game, stuffing it home on the right wing side from a sharp angle and from in tight on Trent Gomi to make it a 2-1 game at that point.
It's a good sign for Julian Johnson, too, to sort of get back himself in that momentum of getting more points on the board on the score sheet. That pointless tenure for him